You've found yourself at the junction where worlds meet. Politics.
Civility? How about honesty in this country, folks?
Entertainment.
I don't like entertainment.
And a whole bunch of other stuff.
It's about having a healthy body image. You have a very unhealthy body. You should have a horrible body image.
Not a big home improvement market in Detroit.
We are definitely going to get letters.
You're listening to Talk Radio's Strangest Animal.
You're a strange animal, that's what I know.
You're getting louder with Crowder.
But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Oh, I'm in the spiritus. Wow.
All right, that's the sound of me getting my headphones on, but the sound of the weekend.
The weekend nonetheless.
Weekend, glad to have you. I am your host, Stephen Crowder, louderwithcrowder.com for references. Of course, you can subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, on the SoundCloud, if you're listening terrestrially, or wherever you are. Glad to be here. Big week. Huge show tonight. Mm-hmm. Oh, producing with me in studio as always is my video producer, Not Gay Jared. You can follow him on Twitter. He is not gay at Not Gay Jared. I fulfill my legal obligations. Draw your own conclusions. We have a pretty big announcement from Not Gay Jared here. I'm going to get rid of these glasses for those who can't see the wardrobe here. It's a little bit hard tonight for me to talk if I sound like I'm stiff-lipped.
It's true.
Watch the video stream. You will understand why. We have a huge show. We have Andrew Klavan and Gavin McInnes on for a full hour to talk about Trump. Mm-hmm. Give you the pros and cons, the virtues, the drawbacks.
And historically, Gavin is
very pro-Trump.
And historically, Klavan is more...
He's more critical of Trump, but they're both voting Trump.
Yes.
So originally we wanted to have Milo and Ben. Milo couldn't do it. Then we wanted to have Gavin and Ben, and they both agreed, but it's Yom Kippur this week? Is that the holiday?
Something going on.
I get it wrong. I'm a Gentile.
Yeah.
But Andrew Klavan agreed. So Andrew Klavan is very critical of Trump, doesn't like him, but will vote for him. Gavin is very much enthusiastic about Trump. So we have that. We have, of course, Nick DiPaolo playing Hipster or Hobo.
Yes.
Then we have a real Dean Cain cutting his first Hopper ads tonight to release during the breaks. Feel the Hopper. And before we get to any of it, Not Gay Jared, my highlight of the week. Roll this clip.
Nobody can dispute the fact that we need. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And it gets sadder.
Does it?
Well, yeah. He never really makes a comeback. He never really gets there.
That was a heckler of Bill Clinton. It's been a trend now, a meme, to accuse him of being a rapist at his rallies, and I love it. But that man took heckling to an art.
It is.
He waited for the pause and just
impeccable timing.
Slid in there that you're a rapist. And Bill Clinton, who was known for being pretty good with a word there, pretty good with a tongue twister, was not able to handle that. He just got caught. If
I'm Bill Clinton, that's the first thing I prepare for when I go out in public. That's the first insult I'm ready to just.
All right, now Hillary, what's
around.
the most likely insult? That you're a rapist? What's the second most likely insult?
I'll prepare for that one.
That you're a serial rapist. I'm seeing a trend. Not Gay Jared, you have an announcement to make.
I do.
By the way, real quick, we're going to be covering election night. We've realized that a lot of people who've tuned into the presidential debates will be covering all of the debates, but we will be doing a live stream election night with an electoral map, keeping you up to date. All of your favorites on Louder with Crowder will be there as guests, popping in and out. Big live stream and a big announcement being made election night. Huge announcement here on Louder with Crowder, #NeverDaily. But right now, you have an announcement. You told me before the show, you've officially decided.
I have officially, as of right now, I reserve all rights to change my mind. All rights. But as of right now, I will pull the lever for one Donald Trump.
Okay.
So here's where I get there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things we talk about are, we talk about the moral things. Can you stand behind a worst case scenario? Can you put your name behind that guy if stuff really goes down in the wrong direction?
Can you emblazon your Metello logo in gold across?
No, I couldn't. But here's where I get down. Okay, disregarding, I understand there's going to be a president either way. Lesser of two evils. I understand. I hate that argument. Hate it. But I understand it has to be made. Someone's going to be president. That all said. My decision comes from the conclusion, all the scenarios. So the possible scenarios, Hillary Clinton wins, which is the most likely in my opinion. No skin off my nose. I did what I could. I can live with it. I can use that as a way to criticize Hillary, I think, better because I did what I could. Now I can go after her. I still get to piss off the social justice warriors because I can still tell them I voted Trump and just watch them burn down in a meltdown of triggering. For the alt-right people, they won't troll me. There you go. They won't troll me.
That's because you hate them.
That's because I hate them.
Yeah.
I really hate them.
You really hate the alt-right trolls.
Pepe can go,
fornicate himself. But they're asexual, so I don't think they do. I think they literally do. It depends on how you look at it. Okay.
So here's the flip side.
Okay.
If Trump does win, here are my 3 scenarios. Scenario 1.
Too many scenarios.
They're quick. He's literally Hitler 2.0. In which case, there's a huge catalog of me saying I really hate this guy. I really don't want to vote for him. I went to the polls. I said I think this guy is a piece of shit. I said a couple Hail Marys.
You're giving yourself your own bleep button work.
I know. That's my one a year. And you know what? I live with it. We all live with it. We trusted him, and he screwed us. Number 2. He's actually a really good president. He does a lot better. In which case, I could say I pulled the lever. It was a risk, and I was surprised.
Distinct possibility.
Here's the middle one. Here's the thing most likely. If he does win, I don't think it's likely. If he does win, he's a mediocre piece of crap, which we know he's capable of. I don't trust us. I don't trust him on policies, even though I would align with him on paper. I don't trust him on them. I think I earn more leverage to call him out and hold him accountable and be pissed at him if I pull the lever for him.
That's a good call. But you said something earlier, too, before the show. You're talking about this. You said you don't think Trump understands constitutional rights.
I don't think he understands it. I don't think he understands it.
Them.
I don't think he cares them. I think Hillary disdains them.
You think Hillary proactively abhors them? I think that's a fair assessment. And I think that is probably the best case for those who are undecided to vote for Trump at this point. I think he isn't really aware of a lot of them. We talked about that with the no-fly, no-buy. I think she detests them.
Yes.
So I think everyone on this program is voting for tonight is voting for Donald Trump. So I will play devil's advocate with Klavan, with Gavin, because I've got to toss out the tough questions. Sorry, you're not going to like it. We've got to present the arguments that are made against him. I think everyone is mostly on the same page here. A couple of things. How much time do we have? Because I
got 5 minutes.
Okay, we got 5 minutes. So you know what? This will have to be a 2-segment issue. Here's the job of this show. The goal of this show, right off the bat, is not to get someone elected, is not to endorse someone, is not to skew. That's never been the goal of this show. It's an entertainment show. And it's designed to inform you and hopefully provide some insight. We want you to leave this show laughing, entertained, and able to better critically think. We don't tell you how to think. Have I ever told you how to vote?
No.
I don't know how everyone on my team is voting. I know Brodigan isn't going to vote for Trump. I don't know Courtney Casey. I didn't know you until tonight. So I really don't. I never tell anyone how to vote. I never tell you how to vote. That's not the goal of this show. The goal is to inform and entertain. And that being said...
And advocate for the principles which would guide possibly your voting.
Even I express my principles, and you can use them as a prism through which to filter issues. And a lot of people do. I'm pretty grateful for that. That's the purpose of this show. That being said, there's a level of authenticity that you don't see with a lot of shows. So, for example, people got mad in a live stream. This is right after the hot mic leak. Do I care that Donald Trump used naughty words? No. However, it doesn't serve me or you for me to be intellectually dishonest and say, who cares about adultery? Who cares about groping? Because all you need to do is rewind the catalog 4 months. Now, I know all the other hosts lie about it, and they say, well, who cares, when they were last week complaining about Bill Clinton's sexual assault. It doesn't serve me or you to say that. So I still hate adultery. I still hate dishonesty. I still hate people who don't understand the Second Amendment and no fly, no buy. And because we react to events in a real way, when I get pissed off at Donald Trump, I'm going to talk about it just as much as I do Hillary. Now, we've released at least 10-to-1 more content critical of Hillary than Donald Trump. However, I'm not going to lie to you. I am here. I don't have a dog in this fight right now. I really don't. I don't like either candidate on a character level. I think on a policy level, I agree more with Donald Trump. But I am not going to lie to myself or you, acting as though either one of these people are good people. Now, that doesn't necessarily matter because they're your two choices. The problem, and this is with media right now, this is the first time we've ever seen this, the problem is when facts are upsetting to people. Because I've just told you that we're probably all voting Trump, but I'm going to be honest when things don't look good or have a problem with it. The problem is when people get furious because you cite a fact. For example, right now, the betting odds are an 85% chance that Hillary Clinton wins. Right now, the lines are going to light up with, oh, you're working for Hillary, the polls are rigged, the polls are rigged. Here's the deal. Right now, well, you know what? Let's roll this clip really quickly. I love Rush Limbaugh. I think he's great, but he actively said this to a caller on the show, and let me tell you why I disagree with it. This will take 2 segments. Let's roll the clip.
My advice would be to ignore them. Whether they're right or wrong, ignore them. Don't let them affect Don't let anything dispirit you. Don't let anything. I don't mean you specifically.
Okay, and he goes on
Micah.
to, he's right about that. Don't let them dispirit you. Don't let the polls dictate how you vote at all. Don't let them dictate how you vote. He goes on to say that, the Democrats are afraid because the polls aren't working in Brexit, and that's what's expressed. Here's the deal. He said that yesterday. That was all the conservative sites, whether it's Drudge, whether it's Breitbart, whether it's the conservative polls, sites that I read, sites that I like, saying ignore the polls, they're rigged. Right now, let me show you right now the front page at Drudge on my screen. Let me bring this up for you. Right now, Rasmussen, he's back in the lead, and Donald Trump tweets out polls. So yesterday, don't pay attention to the polls. Today, look at the polls, everyone. Now, I know people have a short attention span, and so people don't remember it, and people want to hear the things that affirm what they believe. And that's a real business right now, and I want to, how much time do we have here? Because that's
1 minute.
1 minute, okay. So I'll put that on the shelf. We know for a fact, and I'll give you tangible numbers and analytics to prove to you the wool that has been pulled over your eyes. We know for a fact that we could triple our traffic, triple our listenership if we dealt in conspiracy theories that weren't true, and if we just did red meat cheerleading. We've seen it. We'll show you how. We try to be honest with you because unlike every host right now, every single cable news outlet, what they tell you is the country's over, it's done, it hinges on this election, rewind to McCain, rewind to Romney. They said that, they said it's over, you have to get out and vote, and then guess what they all did? They take their 2-week vacation, they come back and say, well, we can still win this, let's get in this fight, and they fight on local political races because they need you to keep listening. I'm here for after the election right now. I'm telling you, it's not just about the election. You need to vote, you should vote. You should vote your way, not my way, not Jared's way, your way. But there's a lot more we can do afterward. And I'm going to tell you that the country is not over. It doesn't hinge only on this. And there's more that we can all do than vote. And let me explain to you the problem with media in 2016 that we need to change right after this break. Mustache.
This is Clever Comebacks with Bill Clinton.
And that is why my wife will be the first to say
That you're a serial rapist?
yeah.
This has been Clever Comebacks with Bill Clinton.
Hey, Jared, what are you doing?
Shooting bad guys.
With what?
By AR-15.
Where'd you get it?
AR-15.com.
Enunciate it more clearly so our audience can hear.
AR-15.com.
That's better. They sell guns now?
Yeah, they do.
Are they any good?
They're the best.
Where from?
AR-15.com. Kapoo. Kapish.
You really make that sound?
Didn't have the budget for sound effects. Kapoo. Kapow.
Oh, there's another one.
Kapow.
You got him. With what?
By AR-15.
From where?
AR-15.com.
Hey, how do you know they're bad guys?
Turbans and burkas. Kapoo.
That's racist.
Glad to be back. Dressed, of course,
Yes.
as
Your dancing is just appalling, by the way.
my dancing. Is
It's
appalling.
gotten worse.
As Ken Bone, the world hero after the debate. Let me get into media here. And this is a problem that I have right now. I think this is important. Everything that's wrong with media in 2016, and I think everyone will understand there's a kernel of truth here, at least in your own life. This is the first election. Are some polls rigged? Yeah. The RCP average has been remarkably accurate. As a matter of fact, overly generous to Romney and McCain. Particularly Rasmussen and LA Times, there are polls that are skewed right, there are polls that are skewed left. However, the cumulative of all the polls has always been overall right the last few years. Could be wrong, but I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's likely. There's no proof that it's likely yet. There is no proof that all the polls are oversampling at a plus 15 Democrats. That's just not true. The polls right now show that Donald Trump is very behind. Hillary Clinton is starting with about 260 electoral votes, and she needs one or two major states, Trump needs a clean sweep. It could happen. It's probably not likely. Now, why do I tell you that? What's going on?
I'm sorry. Hey, Dean.
Jared, what's up, brother? Hey, quick, great time last night. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we just talked last night.
Hold on one sec. I just want to. This is fresh on my mind. I want to say it now. I had so many ideas. Well, I was thinking all night. After we talked and everything last night, and I literally have a whole sheet, a list of ideas and stuff for you guys for daily.
Daily?
Why would you?
I mean, we talk sometimes.
Just let's move. We don't want people to just move on. We want people to talk about it. Okay. So let's talk about media here. This is the first election where when you said, "Oh man, Romney is it's not looking great in the polls," no one said, "Screw you! You work for Obama or McCain or with Bush." If you said, "Man, it doesn't look good right now. Let's go out. Let's canvass. Let's help. Let's campaign more," people didn't get mad at you for citing a fact. Let me explain to you why that is. It's a phenomenon here with social media. We thought when we got rid of the mainstream media sort of gatekeepers that all of a sudden truth would be available and we'd be able to get our information unfiltered. Instead, we've replaced it with social media corporate overlords who are actually your portal to the internet. And even though they lean left, they have an incentive to only tell you what you want to hear. So do websites. Let me give you an example. You go on, you like content that's pro-Donald Trump or pro-Hillary Clinton, depending where you line up. It says you may also like, right? The algorithm is not based on any of these sites, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's not you may also need to hear. You may also need to brush up on. It's you may also like. And so when people go out there and they brag about their numbers and they say, we're doing so great because we're supporting Donald Trump. Well, you want to know who has more numbers, more reach, more traffic than all political sites, all news sites combined? Porn. Kim Kardashian. One Kardashian. Because people love boobs and butts. They love big asses. They love porn. They love naked ladies. So guess what? You can make more clicks. Doesn't mean it's what they need. Doesn't mean it's helpful. In the same bet, people who love, you can bet on people who love Donald Trump. They're going on and read Hillary's corrupt, the email scandal, Hillary sucks, Bill's a rapist. Anything critical of Trump? No, you're not going to like, you're not going to share. People who love Hillary, Donald Trump's a sexual assaulter, Donald Trump's a pedophile, Donald Trump's corrupt. Let me give you an example, a tale of two people. A mom, she logs onto Facebook for the first time, she creates a profile this election. Her daughter goes to college, daughter is Hillary, mom is Trump. Mom goes on, likes Trump's page. Make America Great Again, like. We're winning in the polls, like. Hillary Clinton's corrupt, like. WikiLeaks, like. The girl from college, pro-Hillary, she likes Hillary's page. Donald Trump is not releasing his tax returns, like. Donald Trump is a racist, like. Donald Trump is a rapist, like. And guess what? This goes on for a few months. Eventually, you go an entire 6 months, year, 2 years, without ever having read once a different opinion, even if you know it's true. Even the woman who's on a pro-Trump page where it says, oh my gosh, it looks like he's down, Pennsylvania is no longer a toss-up. Not like, downvote, click, not share. So you never see it. So you only read the pro-Trump stuff, and she's only reading the pro-Hillary stuff, to the point where you couldn't be less informed. And the people who are creating these news stories are incentivized no longer to tell you the truth, but they are actually beholden. 100%, the only way they survive is by creating content that you want to hear. If they create any content that's important and truthful that you don't want to hear, they don't show it to you because it doesn't get a like, it doesn't get an upvote, it doesn't get a click, and so they lie to you. And that's a real problem on either side. And that's why there's this divide, and that's why people are really uninformed of other arguments. And that's why when Rush Limbaugh says, don't pay attention to the polls, you will never hear this program, ever. How many times have I said, set Huffington Post, set Salon.com to some of your favorites? You'll never hear me try and encourage you to limit information. Let me give you some examples with our own page. This is a struggle that we've had. If we post anything critical on our page, anything critical on our website, we do many, many millions of viewers. We're incredibly grateful, and we have the luxury of being able to be truthful. So let's get this up. If we put up a post right here where Donald Trump said he was going to sue the press over negative coverage, this only got about 136,000 reach on Facebook, right? Because it wasn't super pro-Trump, because we didn't like that he was going after the First Amendment. Now, if you look at the comments on that too, right away, people comment on it and they say, I can't believe that you would say this. They're furious. Do we have the comments, not Jared?
No, not that one.
Oh, we don't have the comments. Okay, well, let's contrast it with the Hillary post that we have. Contrast that with a Hillary post.
Take it from about the same sample
putting working
time.
class people out of work. 462,000 reach. Let's do the other one, the Second Amendment one. How many of these do we have?
You two.
Okay, here's two. Donald Trump wants to ban Americans from buying guns. We put it up, only a 400,000 people reach. People got really mad. Show the comments, not Jared. They said, how dare you? This is brainwashed. Why are you reporting this? You need to support Trump. Same story, Hillary. anti-gun. 785,000 reach. Every single person likes it. Same audience, same issue. Show them another meme on a Hillary reach right here. A meme that is truthful. These are posts that are anti-Hillary Clinton. Over 2 million reach. Over 6 million reach on our paltry little Facebook page. What does that tell you? Now, here's the deal. Is that great for us? Red meat lines? Of course. Those are our biggest trafficked pieces. And when Hillary Clinton lied about pneumonia, we covered it. But we didn't lie to you, which we knew would have generated way more traffic with the Parkinson's, which everyone knows is not true now because she doesn't have Parkinson's, but you've forgotten about it and moved it on to the next scandal. We didn't lie to you for more clicks. We could lie to you and tell you a bunch of falsehoods about Hillary and a bunch of falsehoods about Donald Trump, wherever you line up, and ensure that we get more traffic and clicks and we're more profitable by keeping you in the dark. Not only could we do it, if we wanted to grow, if we wanted to work in the social media environment right now, it's what people have to do. So it is your job to inform yourself on both sides and not get offended when someone comes up with facts. And what I want you to do is not only with this election, but win, lose, or draw, understand and look back that the guys who are comedians who play Spot the Tranny and later tonight will play Hipster or Hobo with Nick DiPaolo, gosh, they didn't lie to us. They were pretty consistent. We're looking beyond not just this election. And just be aware of how you're being marketed to and what you're being fed, regardless of political agenda. Andrew Klavan and Gavin McInnes. Ooh, big Trump debate. Ooh,
yeah.
Spooky.
Action. There's a lot of doom and gloom going around nowadays. And I could tell you that there's some apocalypse coming or end of the country, but that's probably just not accurate. But in the case of a natural disaster or circumstances beyond your control, it does pay to be prepared. In my own lifetime in Montreal, we went over a week without food, water, or power. Some people died. That's not even a joke. And that's why this week with a promotional offer from louderwithcrowder.com, if you call 888-457-3453 or go to preparewithcr.com, you can get your 30-day emergency food supply kit for $99 free shipping. That's 140 servings, a full 30 days. Toss it in your basement and wherever you're going to forget about it, but it gives you some peace of mind. The promo again is at 888-457-3453 or preparewithcr.com. Their stuff is good, it's easy, it's inexpensive, and it's actually really tasty. I've tried this out. Jared, in particular, loves their oatmeal.
It's really good.
Yeah, I actually think it's better than some of their store-bought oatmeal.
I really don't myself.
Yes.
Wake up, it's blood.
Reach the wizard.
It's blood. Wake up,
Back. Glad to be back as we get this show on the road. We have, of course, one of our favorite guests, Gavin McInnes of compoundmedia.com, where you can go find him, an author. A lot of people actually talked about how they liked this book, The Great Good Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Klavan, a personal book, which usually he does a lot of fiction. This is nonfiction, and I recommend getting it an audiobook because his voice is like that of buttered sex.
It is.
Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us. Well, I can't speak on behalf of Andrew, but thanks for having me.
Well,
thanks for having him as well. Yeah.
Yes, they're very nice. I assume that neither of you are grateful to be on this show with the Mammoth Reach. Mark them down on the ungrateful list, Jared. So the reason I wanted to bring you both on is because we've talked about that Gavin is very pro-Trump, but he was also a Cruz guy. He wanted to cruise in the Supreme Court, so he's one of the few people I know on the Trump side who doesn't hate everybody else. Andrew Klavan has had a lot to say about Trump critically, but also isn't in the never Trump camp. Do I have those assessments right? I don't want to misrepresent you.
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I was saying, as we were talking about during the break, Twitter isn't real life. And it seems online, a lot of the Trump people, they hate everyone who isn't on the Trump train. And then you have the never Trumpers. Whereas I don't meet any of those people in real life. Almost everyone I meet in real life isn't really enthusiastic about Trump, but they'll pull the lever anyway. And they're said that these are our two options. Have you noticed that discrepancy between online and real life?
Well, I've definitely noticed that that is true. Sorry, of millennials. Like Twitter and social media are millennial fields, and millennials tend to talk like idiots. I'm sure we talked that dumb when we were 19, 20, 21, and guys our age aren't used to speaking to people that young, so it's confusing. But one thing I have noticed is that liberals online are exactly as dumb in real life. They take all these Trump things totally seriously, like the latest controversy with the pussy thing. My liberal friends, and many of them are ex-friends since this, honestly believe that he thinks it's okay to go and grab women's pussies. And also, since the debate, they think that Trump wants to jail his political adversaries, a la Lenin, Stalin.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in a second, the current controversy. I wanted to throw it out generally. So, Klavan, discrepancy between real life and online first.
The thing that has happened online, and I think this is because you don't see the person on the other end, is nobody can say anything in a civilized manner. You know, I mean, you talk about, you'll go on and you say, yeah, I saw this movie, I thought it was great. The comment will be, you're an idiot. You're a pansy. You thought that movie was great. And you think, like, I'm talking about a movie, you know? Like, say, you're allowed to like it.
You would, you filthy Jew.
Yeah, I know. And it's just, I just have a feeling they don't see the person on the other side. So it's like that test where you press the button and you hear a scream over there, but you can't see him, and you keep pressing the button till the guy is dead. Everything is amped up to this other level. And it's just not the way people should talk to each other, although I wonder if maybe it's teaching people to talk to
It's a good point. Actually, Milo wrote a piece about how he thought maybe the internet needed to be censored or regulated because he thought conversation was getting a little too vitriolic a long time ago before he talked
became
about
that guy.
Yeah, he became the guy who supports free speech. Of course, I like new Milo much better. I think you're right. It's a funny little known fact. You know the warning sound, like tornado warnings that you hear that are FCC regulated? We were looking for that sound on YouTube. So just a video of that sound on YouTube, just like tones, had like 2,000 dislikes. Who goes on there to dislike that sound? People are. And you've probably met this person in real life and didn't know he was giving you coffee.
Yeah.
So do you think, though, I definitely have noticed that it is way worse right now in the Trump camp. Gavin, you know, I had Ben on that week, you on that one week, and I was saying, Gavin, the reason I want you on is because Trump fans are the worst people at making the case. As a matter of fact, Trump fans turn off a lot of people who would vote for Trump, not putting you in that camp. Do we think that right now, if you see it with the GOP, because do we think the Trump camp right now is a little more insular, considering that they're denying the statistical reality of the polls, regardless of opinions? They seem to get mad at facts right now regarding the state of this race. Gavin, you can go first.
I believe that we're talking about two groups here. There's the middle American Trump fan, the housewives and the working men, and I don't think they've really changed that much since the beginning of the election. There is some bizarre vitriol coming from the alt-right and the far-right, and I just don't trust the sources. I think a lot of these people are spies. I think a lot of them are plants, and if you have a fake name and your avatar is a knight, I don't trust you. And I
what
think
if it's a
you
frog?
might work for the government. And I know that sounds Alex Jones. Yeah, they're working for the government. They're sending out spies. But I come from Canada, where the entire Nazi movement was created by the Canadian CIA. We had, what was his name? David Wygant, and another guy who they didn't have enough Nazis, so they just created them out of thin air so they could have a task force to fight. So I think there is a lot of weird freaks supporting Trump on the far right, but a lot of them don't exist.
Klavan?
I think this has come down from the left to us. My biggest problem, one of my biggest problems with Trump is that he is what the left always said we were. You know, he's bigoted, he's grotesque, he's all those things that they always said we were, and we weren't. But the left has been saying stuff about this from the top down, from Obama down. Our nutcases on the right talk like this. Our crazy people on the right, they do talk like this. But Obama calls his opponents terrorists. You know, Clinton calls them deplorables. They've been saying stuff like this about us for years at the highest level, and now they're insulted because our nutbags talk like they're presidents. I mean,
but Andrew, what Trump is saying is, he's saying, you want to call me that? You want to call me racist, bigot? Yeah, go ahead. Like, remember when he got in trouble for not using the right term for anchor baby? And he goes, what do you want me to say? And they came up with this big long thing. He goes, no, I'm not doing that. I'm saying anchor baby. So rather than saying I'm going to be, an obtuse maniac, he's really just saying I'm going to relax and talk the way everyone talks. I don't find him that offensive.
I don't think Klavan is talking about anchor baby or illegal immigrants. I do think the hot mic moment is a look. If people say he talks from the heart, well, that's a talk from the heart. And here's the one thing I do want to preface this and let you guys go.
Mike?
Yeah, my point is this. People say talks from the heart, right? Well, that's a double-edged sword. That is true. That is kind of a checkmate from the left right now. I go, well, okay, you say it's a joke, but you loved him because he talks from the heart. It's not that he used the word pussy, which we, unfortunately, talking about the presidential race now with the FCC, where this goes out syndicated, Jared, you have your work cut out for you. Yeah. It's that, we talked about this earlier. Nice tits, I'm cleaning it up. This is cleaning it up from a presidential candidate. No one cares. But if you say, that Mary broad had great tits and I grabbed him even though she didn't say she wanted me to, I grabbed that Mary broad's tits. That context is different. And my only thing is this. Trump on policy, better than Hillary Clinton, sure. But let's acknowledge that neither are good people, personally.
Well,
They're both...
The thing is, you can't... There are two things you can't confuse. One is, let's call it good Trump, which was the Trump at the debate when that Muslim woman stood up and said, what are you going to do about Islamophobia? I thought, like, Islamophobia? What about Islamic people killing people all over the place? Yeah. And Trump is too dopey to understand that that's the moment when he's supposed to get all sentimental about the beautiful Islamic religion, and he just told it to her like it was. That's good Trump, and we all love that Trump. We love it when he says the press is corrupt. I mean, the press in this country is so corrupt, such Democrat hacks, that when he says that stuff, it's great. Then there's the Trump who tells Ted Cruz that his dad killed Kennedy. Then there's the Trump, who's really just comes across as like an ignoramus. And it's that guy that I'm bothered by. I have to be honest, on the sex tape, I don't care. The guy already admitted in his books, he bragged about committing adultery. He's an adulterer.
Right.
Do I disdain adultery? Yeah, but it's none of my business. It's not, the people who are married to him are not married to. This is not a country where they're married to him by demand. They're married to him by choice.
Sure.
He brags about it in his books. So now he says it behind the scenes and he says it using foul language. What's that to me? It doesn't mean a thing to me.
Right. I want to give it to Gavin. I will say the one thing with the Breitbart standard with Anthony Weiner, it is an incredible liability. Right now, it's because of a gag order from Mark Burnett that these tapes from the Celebrity Apprentice aren't coming out. Breitbart was mad about Anthony Weiner because people could blackmail a sitting U.S. senator over these pictures. Obviously, that could happen with Donald Trump in the most powerful office in the land, and there's more ammo. So I understand what you're saying. Personally, yeah, we may not care. But it is a liability for the taxpayer if this guy has leverage on him. Gavin, what Andrew just said, where do you agree, disagree on that? Because he gave it to you that I think we all like when he talks about Islam and illegal immigrants and calls that like it is. I don't think anyone here disagrees with that.
Yeah, the comment about Ted Cruz's father wasn't great. I didn't like that he insulted Cruz's wife. I didn't like where he talked about the First Amendment and how he's going to be stricter about free speech. But regarding that latter one, he was being framed. Journalists were lying about his campaign, lying about who showed up, lying about what he had said. And we keep seeing that, by the way, with the media throughout this campaign. By the way, he didn't say, I grabbed their pussy. He said you could do anything.
No, but he said I tried to F her. She was married. We don't know how much he was
joking. I don't want to parse a private conversation.
No, but Gavin, let me say one thing.
I think you sound like a virgin when you're shocked by it.
No, Gavin. Let me ask you this, point blank. Have you ever cheated on your wife? I know you haven't. You know why, Gavin?
I had if I was being recorded.
No, but Gavin, I know you haven't because I've had conversations off air. You're sailing with your Proud Boys.
Great. So now I know you'll rat me out if I did.
No, I'm saying that you haven't. My point is this. I know that you really care about your wife, your marriage, and I know you have respect for people who do. All I'm saying is I think you should apply that standard across the board. I know it matters to you.
We're not electing a friend, okay? We're not electing someone that we can go and go camping with. We're electing someone who is going to do as little as possible, as far as I'm concerned, and meddle. I don't want him buying Solyndra. I don't want him forcing a healthcare program at gunpoint. I don't want him going to our enemies and doing nuclear deals with them so he can look good and he's showboating for his Muslim friends. I don't want any of that. But the reason I think that Trump is so important right now is because we're living in a real era of shame. We're living in a culture that's anti-masculine. We're living in a culture where we're ashamed of being patriotic. We're changing the name of Columbus Day. And what Trump is saying with Make America Great Again is make America proud to be great again. We know we're great, but all this capitulation and shame and how many genders do you want me to say? It really is it's our death knell. And the fact that he's turning that around means I can forgive a lot more stuff because, as Breitbart pointed out, the politics is downstream from the culture, and right now the culture is all about, let's be honest, women getting whatever they want.
Oh, gosh. You got a lot of mail from that last one. I disagree. I really do. I think I would love to see a candidate do that, and I thought he was on track to do it. And I genuinely, if people disagree, and I'll toss it to Klavan and Gavin, a guy who did this, a guy who had this tape, which sounds really bad. We all know locker room talk. We don't talk about grabbing women by the pussy or cheating on our wives if we don't do it. Guys don't brag about that if they don't do it. Typically, not the guys I know.
That's not true at all, Steven. It's called a joke. It's called riffing with a dude.
I tried to fuck her. She was married. I've never met a guy who jokes that way. But maybe, let's say it is. My point is this. The Gender Studies 101, Rape Culture 101 will be a mandatory course because I'll say, look, it comes from the top down and point to President Trump. And I think he could empower them, which I would hate to see. I think that they will feel emboldened with a President Trump, just like they did under a President Bush. Gavin, I'll let you respond, and then Klavan, you can go. Do you think there's a possibility of that?
Title IX. Title IX is the government saying, all right, here's a bunch of money to find rapists at your college. So what they do is they end up incentivizing rape as a phenomenon. Now that you've done that, the colleges go, well, I better go dig up some rapists. Too bad there aren't any. I know, I'll change the definition to be anything you regret. So now we have lives being ruined. We have these kids committing suicide. They've been accused of rape. We've created this whole fear culture. We've ruined sex.
Okay, but I've got to go to Klavan. Can you answer that question? Do you think there's a possibility that he empowers those people?
Done. You can't just
no, you've been talking for longer than Klavan. Klavan, do you think?
Is that in Obama's America,
shut off his mic. Shut off his mic.
That incentivized. In Trump's America, they'll go, we need your Title IX money, and Trump's going to go, no, we're not doing that. That's a waste of money.
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter. I think the universities will do it anyway. Klavan, do you think there's a risk of that?
Of people overreacting to Trump, you mean?
Of people using it to say, see rape culture in the United States and it emboldening these people more.
Of course, but they're going to do it anyway. I mean, here's the thing. Everything the left does, the thing that's so tricky about talking about the left is that everything it does has this little germ of truth, which they use which they extend past the point of sensibility. Everybody believes in good air and good water and conserving things, but they make it so that you can't budge. You know, you can't get the oil and the energy out of the ground because they're shutting down your...
Hold that thought. We have to go to a break. I agree with you. We all want you to stop littering so much, but I'm going to drive a Jeep. That's kind of how I think we could crystallize that. Gavin McInnes and Andrew Klavan will continue this discussion after the break. My mustache is falling off. And now for the man who captured America's hearts. These are the adventures of Cambone.
Hey, sweetheart, I'm home.
Oh, how'd it go?
Oh, it just went fantastic. I asked my question and it was really great. I'm glad I made the drive.
Okay, well, dinner will be ready in a minute.
Oh, that sounds great, sweetheart. I'm starved. I'm just going to go on down to the dark room to get started on the photos from this disposable camera. Call me up when it's ready.
Have fun.
Okay. You talked about this with Kenny here, right? I'm going to take off that ball gag, but if you make a sound, I'll destroy everything you hold dear. Are you ready to play nice?
You're a monster.
Hey now. There's no need for name calling. We're all friends here.
I'd never be friends with you, you sicko.
Oh, it's a shame you feel that way because I really wanted us to go down the path of friendship. Hey, let me bring this up here. You see that? It's a nice picture of your daughter, don't you think?
No. What do, you freak?
I think I'm going to have to pay her a visit.
No!
Coming on up, sweetie. Oh, you make the best mac and cheese.
Stay tuned for more of America's Sweetheart, The Adventures of Cambone.
When it's time to party, we will party hard.
All All right, we are back. Compoundmedia.com, Gavin McInnes. Go check out his podcast. Highly recommend it. It's good stuff. And then author of The Great Good Thing, available on Amazon, audiobook, Andrew Klavan. Gentlemen, thank you for being back. Before we get back into that, real quick, so I can give you both equal time, gun to your head, who wins this election, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton?
Wait a minute. I want to get back to what Andrew
Well, hold on,
was
just real quick. We'll
saying
get
about
back to
the
that real quick.
environment.
Who wins, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, if you have to guess?
Trump.
Klavan.
Yeah, Clinton, if I had to guess, yeah.
Okay, all right. Klavan, were you done surmising that point before Gavin interrupts you again?
No, I did want to make the point that because the left always says something that has some inherent truth. You want to treat women with respect, and then they turn this into, if you look at them the wrong way, you're a rapist. If you act like a normal man, you're turning them into objects and all this stuff. They make everything insane. The problem with Trump is that he violates political correctness, but he also sometimes violates normal decency. It's maybe not such a good idea to say that an American guy can't be a good judge because he's a Mexican, unless you got something on him, and then I'm fine with it. If you can say, oh yeah, he's La Raza, sure, go ahead. But I'm just saying that what Trump does is he validates the worst extremism of the left by stepping over the line. So it is a problem. It is a problem when you argue with people and you call them fat pigs. I like we were saying. I mean, it's for children to talk like that to each other. It's not for adults. It's not. And so when
it's for this show, not the Oval Office.
Exactly. I come here to talk like that.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with Gavin on that. Rosie O'Donnell is a fat pig.
And as far as the environmentalism goes, I love that you brought that up, because that's what a matriarchy does. They say, we want to stop the environmental pollution. And when we hand them the reins, when we give them the keys to the city, we go, all right, what do you got? And they go, well, we want to find alternative energy. No blood for oil. And we go, okay, what about this, fracking? And they go, no, it might damage the water supply. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, you don't want to drive. You don't know how to drive. You just like bitching. Tell you what, we're going to continue with the patriarchy. Trump's going to be handling this from now on, because every time I hand you the talking stick, matriarchy, you go, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what you want.
I think we can all agree that giving women the vote
crude.
was a big mistake. I think we can all get on the basic idea that giving women the vote was a big mistake.
Yeah.
I think that's basic.
It's true. Most women didn't want to vote because they knew it.
I mean, they should be
they've been complaining
allowed
to me ever
legally,
since,
but should they?
Yeah.
So that's weak.
Yeah, I think it's cuck-worthy there.
Yeah, once you give it, say they should have it legally. You know what women are like.
Yeah, I know.
So have you seen the maps that came out yesterday of
I did.
America and a man America?
But you know what? I will tell you this:
blue, almost 100%.
My family, all of whom are women, conservatives, they were turned off by Trump with that. They voted Republican in every election. So we have to be honest. It's exclusive to him with even conservative women. That's never happened before. That's bad.
I'm telling you, this is going to...
The media does this thing. Look, this election is not about whether Donald Trump is a bad person. He is a bad person. Hillary Clinton, probably a worse person.
Right.
They're two really awful people. I think they really are. It really says something about this country that out of 300 million people, we came up with these two people to lead the country. That's bad news. But the press always tries to make this a good guy, bad guy thing. They're smart that way. The press are Democrat hacks, and they try to make this an issue of good guys versus bad guys. They did it with Mitt Romney, a very decent man. Oh, he put his dog on a car. Oh, he bullied somebody in high school. They try to make it the narrative about good guys and bad guys.
Right.
It's kind of clarifying to have them both be such skunks, because now we should know that it's never about that. It's never about whether they're good guys or bad guys. It's never about whether they're nice to women. It's about what they're going to do in office. That's the only interchange we're going to have. So they're not my daddy. They're not my mommy. They're not my pal. They're the president. They're the CEO of the company. Do their job. The press always distracts us from that for the simple reason that leftism doesn't work.
I think you're right, and I'll toss this to Gavin. I think you're right. I think the right has played into it, though, because of their hatred of Hillary Clinton. They've been attacking Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton as the bad people, the sexual harassers. And my point is this: either none of it's okay, like you said, they're both bad people, or all of it's okay, and you have to acknowledge all of it, all of their indiscretions. Why I have a problem with is saying, well, Clinton covered up these sexual assaults. Well, Clinton is bad, but what Trump did is okay. It's all bad. So let's acknowledge they're both bad and get down to ideas.
What sexual assaults did Trump do?
Well, there's a case pending that's going to be heard on December 16th where before this tape, a woman came forward. There are several women who came forward and said he did exactly what he described. This was before the tape was released. He forced himself on me, groped me, and kissed me. And that's going to be heard in court. So,
okay, well, let's hear them in court because Hillary has plenty of cases that have already been through court, that have already been settled. And that's what another frustrating thing about this whole election.
None have stuck.
Ooh, Trump, he'll have
but
his
none have
fingers
stuck,
on
Gavin.
the
That's my
button.
point. If none of them stuck.
I've seen Hillary with her fingers on the button.
No, they didn't stick. None of these stuck as far as sexual assault charges.
Paula Jones,
wait, the Bill Clinton ones never stuck?
Yeah.
What was the charge from Paula Jones? I thought it was a settled.
Yeah,
well,
a settlement,
settled.
it means
Well, Donald
it's settled.
Trump has settled far more than the Clintons. That means he's guilty of not hiring black people. He settled. Doesn't mean you're guilty. He's never been found guilty is my point. So if neither of them are found guilty, then let's toss the ammo out on both sides. Is that fair?
Yeah, but it won't happen.
Sure,
but is that fair?
Yeah, but all you're doing is silencing one side because the left is going to...
Right, but my point is both sides right now want it both ways. So I'm saying let's acknowledge all of it like Andrew said, or none of it. That's my only point, is some kind of consistency there.
Yeah, I
Gavin,
get
go
you,
ahead.
but the problem is that Hillary started playing dirty pool with Trump did this and Trump's racist, and that is the left's tactic. They always call you a racist. They try to tar and feather you. So now Trump is retaliating and fighting fire with fire. But I think the left started it. It's their MO. The left is why Trump exists, because they said, we just keep getting cowed. Like Romney, they said 50% of the country don't pay tax. They went, boo Romney, and Romney just went, I'm sorry. He should have said, yeah, it's true, they don't.
It's true. Instead, he retreated to his holy underwear closet. And we're going to get letters on that. No,
we're against Mormons now?
No one's against Mormons. Evan McMullen could win Utah. It's an absolutely...
We're down on women and Mormons. I think we've gone over 50% of the country.
Yeah.
Is anybody listening?
Yeah, I know. It is a rough front. Okay, well, we'll come back. We'll do another segment. We can do this all night. But
all night?
I don't think there's a lot of disagreement here. I just think I think there's the slight disagreement of the lens of, all right, consistency versus win at all costs. And I think that's kind of the two camps right now. And I understand both.
I also think Trump is going to be a terrible president, but I don't think he'll be as bad as Hillary.
We'll be back with another segment. Andrew Klavan and Gavin McInnes. Stay tuned. And now for the man who captured America's hearts. These are the adventures of Cambone.
Okay, that was fun. So I'll see you tomorrow, Cindy. Yeah, okay, I'll see you girls tomorrow. Hey there, Cindy. What you got there? I'm sorry. Oh, that's a nice knapsack. Who are you? Kenneth Bone's the name. I'm an old friend of your dad. How come I never heard of you? Well, I don't think your dad's been doing a lot of talking these days. He seems mighty stressed. Yeah, he's always working too much. Oh, I know, and that's a shame. With a great young gal like you, I'd never be going into the office. All I'd do is take care of you. Hey, you like candy? Yeah, I like candy. Yeah, all little girls like candy. How about puppies? Yeah? Well, it just so happens to be a fact, I got both of them in back. I don't know. Oh, why don't you just go back there and check it out? I'm not supposed to talk to people I don't know. I'm not a stranger. I already told you. I'm Kenneth Bone, a good friend of your dad's. Go on back there. Hey, what if I told you there's a birthday clown back there, too? Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger! No, now calm down. I'm not a... Oh, ass.
We have a 440 in progress.
Ah, crap.
Stay tuned for more of America's Sweetheart, The Adventures of Cambone.
Thank you.
right, we are back. Before I introduce my guest, Not Gay Jared, you had a point. Make it brief, because it's going to be the least valuable addition to this segment.
I'm sure it will be. I think one of the differences I think we're talking about, but not setting being forthcoming with, is that it's not so much the difference between what people use in the race, debates. If Hillary's going to shove on dirt in a debate on Trump, personal dirt, I think Trump should shove it right back to bring it back. I think what we're talking about, at least to me, is what shapes how voters think about the candidates. If you're going to make your decision, I don't think it's what's fair ball in the race, in the campaigns, for the debates. I think
Trump needs to get beyond that 42 wall, and he never has. And there's no path to it now unless something changes. Author of The Great Good Thing, Andrew Klavan, compoundmedia.com. Gavin McInnes, what do you think? How does Trump get beyond that wall and the mathematical, not quite impossibility, but getting there for him to win? He needs to get at least a few more percentage points, and he hasn't. How does he do it?
This is how he's going to do that. He is going to become the Real Housewives president. And have you noticed, if you put on Real Housewives, your mother's ass stays glued to the couch, and your dad gets the hell out of there. We need women to stay home this election, and we need dads to get out to the polls. So that show had better be on November 8th if we're going to win this election.
Illuminating.
And the way you do that, by the way, the way you keep women on the couch is you hammer Hillary. Now, he did it in the first election a tiny bit. He really, a debate. He did it in the second debate much better. The third debate, I want to hear uranium really loud. I want to hear Clinton Foundation really loud. Yes, I want to hear about all those suspicious deaths. Throw that in the mix. They need to get women's enthusiasm low.
Okay, so you think a low turnout is his golden ticket?
And the way he achieves that is he hammers Hillary hard.
I think if nothing else, we've learned that Gavin McInnes has a very odd family life, and their selection of reality shows. Klavan, what do you think? What is his path, and do you agree with Gavin?
Well, I agree that if that were possible, that would be his path, and that obviously seems to be his strategy. He seems to have given up the idea that he can attract anybody. He's just going to try and suppress the vote by getting people to stay home. I can't see that working. It just doesn't seem like a mathematical possibility to me. I'm willing to. I would be the only thing that would that I do think could happen is I do think the polls could be wrong. The polls have been right for the last couple of elections, and people have been saying they were skewed, and they haven't been. So we've been lulled into trusting them. I think it's possible the polls are wrong. I think this last Wall Street Journal poll was basically a fake. I think it came out too soon. I don't think they processed the information. I think it was way tilted to Democrats. That is possible. But if the polls are right, and I'm talking about the Real Clear Politics average, which is now still about 6%.
Well, even the only Trump-friendly polls, Rasmussen and LA Times. LA Times has it a tie. Rasmussen has him down big, and they have always been more generous with Republicans.
Don't answer polls.
Well, they have in the last 8 elections.
Going to the voting booth.
They have in the last 8 elections.
Don't feel like talking on the phone. Yeah, how am I going to vote? Who is this?
Andrew?
What I think you were saying, that he hasn't gotten over 42%. I just think that's very telling, just mathematically. I don't think you can win if you can't get your vote up past that. And I just don't see it. Listen, I think
he's impassioning women to vote against him. I've seen that. I've seen women who weren't going to vote going, this guy is. I've seen it. Women just like, he's such a pig. If I go to vote, it'll be to vote against this guy. I've seen that happen. I think he runs that risk.
That's a valid point. But remember, guys, if we had the same voting demographics that we had for Reagan, Romney would have won by a landslide. It's all these other, the 80% of young people, visible minorities, women, that vast majority of voters that are going in there. They're going in there out of spite. They're going out of there because of emotion, and because someone is cute like Justin Trudeau or cool like Barack Obama. But this election is going to be Reagan demographics. We're going to see all these dads finally interested in the political process. And what I have to say to you two is, I don't understand why you think that you have the privilege to sit there and go, I don't like either of them. I don't support either of them. You don't have a choice anymore. You have to choose one of them. It's an ultimatum.
Wait.
Go ahead, Klavan.
I actually agree with that, and I've been having this argument with Ben Shapiro for a long time. I actually do agree with that, but I don't have to lie. I don't have to lie for them. Just because I have to make an awful choice. I believe my country that I love has thrown up an awful choice. I have to make it. I get that. I do agree with the people who say one of these people is going to be president. You got to vote for one of them or the other.
So you are voting for Trump, Andrew.
I'm voting for Trump, but then I'm probably going to just hide away in my room in the darkness and weep for years to come after them.
Yeah.
In shame.
Can we count on your vote too, Stephen?
He has till election day to win my vote. I will tell you what was a big change for me.
Welcome aboard the Trump train, boys.
Yeah, I will tell you what it was for me. Donald Trump, Gavin, for someone who's championed this for so long, he doesn't understand basic constitutional rights. He doesn't understand it. And so for me,
he's never read the Constitution.
No, for him to, the no fly, no buy, this is way worse than grab it by the pussy or any of that. For someone to say, you know what, let's strip someone of their right to self-preservation without any trial, without any criminal charges, without any appeal process, without even telling them why, for someone to be okay with that, that is unprecedented for a Republican. As much as we can talk rhinos and Bush, and that to me was the most upsetting thing I've seen from any Republican in several elections. You may not like it, Gavin. You may think I'm a cuck for saying it, but that really bothered me, and that gave me enough pause where I don't know that there's any difference, because once you remove the filter of either of these candidates care about constitutional rights at all, I think it's all for naught. So if he shows me that he understands it on a fundamental level, of course I'll vote for him. But he hasn't, and it really concerns me.
Can I add something to that, because I want to hear Gavin's response to this?
Yeah.
This is Ben Shapiro's argument. I don't mean to make it for him. This is the way I understand part of his argument.
You two Jews, you always stick together. You run the media and the banks.
And in our spare time, because every other day is a Jewish holiday. The fact that the Republican is talking about keeping all the entitlements, the Republican is talking about stripping you of both your Second and your Fifth Amendment rights, due process and your gun rights. The fact that he is such a left-winger, and he's always been a left-winger, he's always been a Democrat, and he represents the Republicans, that does seem to me more damaging than the fact that Hillary is a left-winger for the Democrats. It seems like he is destroying the core ethos of what used to be.
I think he's further to the left than Hillary on a few issues. The fact that he's courting Bernie voters on economic issues, and she was dismissing them as people who want free health care, want free school in their parents' basement
dwellers.
She was more of a centrist, and he's courting them because he needs the votes. Gavin, do you think Klavan makes a point there?
He does, but I've got some great news for both of you guys. It's called Ted Cruz SCOTUS. Ted Cruz will be replacing Scalia, and he will be handling all these boring constitutional matters that Trump doesn't have time for. I admit that stuff worries me. I admit that the lack of First and Second Amendment talk is scary, and as John Derbyshire says, he may break our hearts, but he's the best option we have now, and we need a bastard in there to win, because the other side's been playing dirty pool for too long.
Yeah,
my problem with that, though, is like if we become them, then what are we voting against? I don't understand. I mean, the whole point was that we were the good guys. This is what's so disturbing to me about Trump, is that I used to say, they fight dirty because we're the good guys, and it's harder to win.
It's not working. Taking the high road hasn't been working. We got to take the low road.
It only didn't work in the presidential elections. We won the Congress. We won both houses of Congress. We won state houses across the country. We were on the march.
Which we'll all lose now.
But we're losing bigger wars. We're losing the culture wars. We're losing the Western world. I mean,
actually, I think we're winning the culture wars.
I think and they were telling me that they were getting shot at, and their commander was saying, "Don't shoot back because it's at a mosque." And one of them just went, "Did you say shoot the mosque? I misheard you." Took them out.
Actually, let me say something here.
They've polluted everything.
To give Gavin credit and Klavan credit, I actually think we're winning the culture war now. That's what concerns me. More young people identify as right-wing on issues when polled individually than ever before. Certainly more than baby boomers at this point in their lives. Gavin, that's why you're able to reach so many people. Klavan.
Well, slow down. I'm the one with you two and other guys that made it happen. So don't go telling me I'm lucky to have a bed when I made it myself.
No, I'm not saying you're lucky. I'm saying that's why people, because of the work you've done, I would put myself on that list because I was doing it since 2006. But Klavan,
2005.
All right, there you go, you stupid little hipster, godfather of hipster. Then we knew this was going to happen. But my point is, I'm giving you a compliment, you dick.
I know.
My point is this, but you have to know, we've talked about this, you're able to make more headway now because I think a lot of young people have been red-pilled, to take the term, have opened their eyes. But here's what's so scary to me. These people in a generic matchup, even millennials, Republicans were doing better versus Democrats in a generic matchup for the House or Senate than ever before. That's gone. These people who support the Second Amendment, the First Amendment more than ever before, who hate social justice warriors more than ever before, we should have a record number of people below the age of 45, not just millennials, record number of people below the age of 45, uneducated or educated, voting Republican, and it's the lowest number ever, which tells me these people are looking for a number to not vote Hillary, and Trump hasn't given it to them.
Answering the phone when pollsters call.
Well, we'll find that out quickly on November 8th.
Right. I think there's a whole America going on there that doesn't have time for the phone, doesn't trust the media. We've seen how biased they are towards Hillary. And I think not only have they given up on the media, but they had given up on the political process for the past 8 years. And all of a sudden they're going, you know what? I'll be handling this myself. Look at Florida the other day with Trump. We don't hear about any support over there. Oh, he's dying in the polls. Then you look out on the audience and you go, what is that, 50,000 people? It looks like a Rolling Stones concert in Rio.
Hold on, we have 1 minute. Klavan, go, and then we'll do another segment here. What's yours?
Do you truly believe that the polls are so skewed that Trump is winning? I mean,
they only
really
have to be a few percentage points off.
Do you think that's true?
No, it'd have to be like 11 points off in a lot of key states.
It'd be pretty tough at this point. Look, you may be right, but I don't think so. And I think what Stephen says is exactly right. We were winning. We had won. If we had put up almost anybody, Marco Rubio, who, no matter what you say about his immigration stance, he would have moved the party to the right. He would have won. Anybody, look, I think a wind-up doll could have beaten Hillary Clinton.
Well, we'll be right back. And Klavan, McInnes, and you're right. And the thing is, Trump's immigration plan is almost identical to Marco Rubio's now. Lotto with Crowder. We'll be back with these guests. I love them both very much.
This is Clever Comebacks with Bill Clinton.
And that's why I'm confident that the American people understand.
That you raped a bunch of women and threatened to kill them if they came forward?
Now, that's not true.
Yes. It is true.
Well, that's what you say.
It's what they said in court under oath.
No.
This has been Clever Comebacks with Bill Clinton.
Glad to be back. CompoundMedia.com, Gavin McInnes. Go listen to his podcast, or you're not welcome here. The Great Good Thing, written by Andrew Klavan. Okay, so let's get to that. A lot of people say all the polls, the only Trump argument at this point is all the polls are rigged. I'm just talking about, I think there are two things. The policies, the personalities. And then I think you get to, okay, this is the political reality. How does Trump win? That's a third thing, I should say. So really three things. I misspoke. The only real argument for the third is all the polls are rigged. And the betting odds are skewed, and everyone involved in the polling industry whose livelihood depends on being accurate are somehow working for the left, including conservatives like Rasmussen.
No, not working for the left. Their system doesn't work because they don't recognize that there is this sleeping giant waiting to spring in November.
I would think the people, well, if you look at the demos, the people most likely to answer their phone are actually older white people. Those are the people who still have landlines. So wouldn't it overrepresent them?
But not boomer dads.
I would think so. Go ahead.
I would also think it's in, if the polls skew left, if the pollsters are leftists, I would think it would be in there to their advantage to make it look like a closer race. Because if the biggest problem that Hillary has is nobody likes her. So if they think she's going to win anyway and they can stay home and not vote for her, they will.
She is a horrible bitch. There is that. That's the outline.
She is a genuine nightmare. And the thing is, as much as I dislike Trump, so much of what he does is just petty corruption and coarseness and crassness and rudeness, where she is a deeply corrupt individual. I mean, she is somebody who sold government favors for cash. She did that. That's influence peddling. It's a felony. She shouldn't be walking around. I mean, when the FBI decided not to indict her, I kind of backed Comey because I thought he was probably an honest guy. Having watched him now, answer all these questions in the Congress, I think he's blown. I think he's corrupt. I think the Justice Department is corrupt. Listen, Barack Obama, who's probably a nicer person if you met him individually than any of these people, has corrupted every arm of government. Every three-lettered agency is now working against the Constitution, working for him. These are very bad people on the left. And as bad as Trump is, he's nothing like that.
Hold on a sec here. This whole, the way we abhor crass behavior and the way we go against all this horrible, rude language, I think it's wonderful. Because what it's done is it's made conservatism punk rock again. It's made it exciting. It's made it cool. And that gets the young people. And that's what we need more than anything, we need the young vote. Like, what is the average demographic at Fox News is 70 years old. If they don't get younger people, then they're doomed. And the way you get younger people, the way the right gets younger people, is it gets more fun. I remember when Rush Limbaugh called Sandra Fluck a slut, and everyone I knew over at Fox and everyone I knew on the right said, "Oh, that was terrible. He's using their language, and I'm not supporting him, and we're becoming one of them." And I said, "No, that's good. Slut, slut, slut it up. We want to have that normal language so we can bring in young people."
Right, but
on
Gavin,
the weekend we were bathing in pig's blood here in New York at a Trump art show, and the left was going ballistic. We're making it fun again.
Well, and far be it from me, because was it Kirsten Powers got furious when I created that famous Barack Obama poster, put in Hillary Clinton, and wrote "bitch" on it, and she was like, "All right." And I was like, "Listen, if you can't use the word bitch for her, you can't use it. I'm not saying all women. I'm just saying her. She's a bitch." That being said, words are not the same as character issues. You use naughty words. I know you're a good. People can see that, and I see it in my. People use naughty words, but they're also good to their wives. Gavin, you're a good dad.
Jesus, will you get out?
You're a good dad.
Souls?
You're a good. No. The point is,
spine.
Gavin. But it's one thing to say a naughty word. That's not what it's about. Another thing, your character matters to you. It matters to you, Gavin. I know the way you live your life. Your character matters to you. That's one of the things I respect about you. And Klavan. So I think we can separate naughty words versus character issues and not sell both out.
You can't judge character. You might as well do screenings for jihadists. You can't tell someone's deep, dark thoughts.
Sure you can. Klavan.
But it is like saying that's why I was talking before about how there's always like this kernel of truth in what the left says. It is like saying, yeah, it's great that they're spilling oil into the bay because I'm sick of these environmentalists. Well, that's not quite it, is it? That's not quite where we want to go. What we want is to be able to get our oil, to frack, to do this stuff and drive our cars and not be, hounded by these people. But yeah, we want our air to be clean. Same thing with Trump. It's yes, I want political incorrectness everywhere. I want you to be able to say bitch about women and bastard about men. I want you to be able to tell the truth. I want you to be able to say there's more crime in black neighborhoods than there is in white neighborhoods. It's a problem. Yeah, you can say all those things, and you can say them bluntly and clearly and truthfully without calling, Ted Cruz's wife ugly, which is absurd. It's just without stooping to this personal, vindictive, nasty talk that it does seem like a mental illness Trump has. There's something wrong with him that when you attack him, he cannot get off the subject of justifying himself. I mean, that's classic narcissism. Something wrong with the guy.
Cruz did lose. Cruz got pushed out of the race after that. I mean, it was dirty pool, but it kind of worked. And by the way, not to keep hounding about this Trump art show we did on the weekend, but there was some guy there in a Che Guevara hat, and he had a bag, and I just thought, you seem like a spy. And then he started panicking. So I grabbed him by the shirt, and I just threw him out the front door, and he started screaming hysterically like an 8-year-old girl on a roller coaster. Now, that is all we have to do to the left, is just get a little bit tough, grab them by the cuff, and throw them out. Yeah, it's stupid to their level, but it's going to take some tough love to realign America.
Well, here's what I will say about that. Okay, just since you mentioned the Shea T-shirt, the left has normalized abhorrent things. They have normalized Hillary Clinton. People look at Hillary Clinton and say, well, she's bad. It was P.J. O'Rourke said she's bad, but she's bad in a normal way, whereas Trump is bad in an abnormal way. And I disagree with that. I think when you can wear a Shea T-shirt, you can't wear a Himmler T-shirt. It's the same thing. It's the same damn thing. It's like this. You're wearing this murderous communist, evildoer basically on your shirt,
and that's
everybody
a good
thinks
point.
it's fine.
You know, when all the never-Trumpers say this shirt is just as bad as, you know, committing adultery, which we're selling in the merch store very soon, by the way. Like, I'm totally, obviously, it's not lost on me. I agree with you on that, Gavin, but I do think we need to be intellectually honest and consistent. I think we can do both.
I don't know who you want. We have 2 people left, and you don't have a choice anymore. If you don't
here's
vote
the deal.
for Trump,
What if
you'll be voting for uranium?
Okay, but let's get past that because can we do one more segment? You guys are so lovely. Can you do one more segment, Klavan? I know you're busy.
I got one more.
All right, he's got one more, and I mean, let's go write another book.
I'm dumpster dove this morning, and I want to finish this soup.
What kind of soup is that?
It's just various things. You wouldn't believe what people throw out these days. Totally reasonable.
I'm glad he's eating. Yeah.
And some mushroom compote.
Speaking of which, we'll have Nick DiPaolo, Hipster, Hobo. Stay tuned. One more segment.
For breaking news on Louder with Crowder, I'm Perry Matheson. We now have received breaking audio from a recent locker room conversation with none other than America's sweetheart, Dean Cain, speaking in a way that has raised some eyebrows. We play the tape for you now and warn that it's not family appropriate.
No, she was really nice, you know. And then we went actually to have sushi, which I love sushi, and apparently she wasn't her favorite, but we still had a really nice time.
Yeah.
You know?
And at the end of the night, did you maybe grope her sexually against her will?
Against her? No, that's really no. I didn't grope her sexually against her will or otherwise. I mean, we had just a nice time.
Ah, come on, you can tell me. Did you just us in the locker room? Did you maybe try to grab a pussy? You know?
Dude, what? What the hell is wrong with you? No, I did not. I didn't do anything like that. We had a nice meal and talked.
Was she married?
No. No, she's not. She's not married. No, I didn't get a married woman. What are you talking about?
I think I got what I need. Let's do it in post.
Hey.
Truly a campaign shakeup and a sad commentary of where our culture is as a country. It should be noted that tape was provided to us courtesy of Sheldon Acorns and his Scrolliceuticals. I'll keep you abreast as this story unfolds. For Louder with Crowder, I'm Perry.
All right, glad to be back. I have to take off these glasses. They're messing with my vision. We've never done a segment this long, ever with guests, but I love these two. CompoundMedia.com, Gavin McInnes, very funny, very talented, very good man, despite what he tries to put on. Always keep up appearances, love. And Andrew Klavan, the great good thing.
He made a joke on a bus with a short guy.
No, come on. We all know he's a serial adulterer, and that's just silly. Let me ask you this. So since we're talking about this...
was fired for laughing at that joke. That's the America we live in.
Well, Billy Bush is a prick. So let's get so WikiLeaks. We'll talk about this. Here's the thing I want to get past. Yeah, I think everyone here is voting Trump. Okay. I don't know about not gay Jared, but let's get if Trump loses in a landslide loss, then, and that's very likely, then there needs to be a regrouping. And I do want to know if the Trump-trained people can face a reality. And here's something that's important to me. You know, we're talking about the WikiLeaks. We covered this before. A lot of other people did. We talked about Hillary Clinton knowingly deleting emails. They're really, what's a smoking gun at this point? There's a smoking Gatling gun. No one cares. But something that was very telling to me, they were terrified of facing the likes of Marco Rubio. Podesta said he thought that Hillary's campaign was entirely dependent on Trump being the nominee, and that was a guaranteed win. They almost knew it was a certain loss against Rubio. So when the cameras weren't rolling, without the propaganda, they wanted this. Is that somewhat telling, just as far as political strategy, that maybe some people were right about this, where we find ourselves? Gavin, you can go first.
Sure, but again, that's the old model. This is a total and utter reboot. Everyone has been gobsmacked from the day he became the presidential candidate up until an hour ago. He keeps blowing our minds. And I think one of the problems with the GOP is we keep using old models and old way of life. Look, we had a saint run. Romney has probably never even thought of a swear word before. And they said, oh, his camp had the N-word. He had an offshore account. God bless him.
Oh, wait, his camp had the N-word?
He made a rude comment one. What?
Something about the N-word with Romney? I've not heard this.
Some camp that used
that
to
was
be
Rick Perry.
called something.
Oh, it was Rick Perry. That's right, in the Painkillers. Okay, go.
Yeah, and just a bunch of garbage. So we went, all right, we can't win. You keep looking for this perfect soul Jesus candidate.
No, Gavin, don't do that. That's not intellectually honest. I was saying with these private emails, they wanted Trump. Strategically, if Trump loses in a landslide, is there a reality that you think Republicans are willing to face that, okay, you know what, maybe let's go a different direction. Let's get a Rubio next election. Klavan, go ahead.
No, I think
in America, this is a Mad Max movie. I don't know what is going to be. I'm very Glenn Beckian when it comes to the next 4 years. And if Hillary wins, I know on a personal level, I'm going to go from a funny guy in a Hawaiian shirt to a dark, satanic, evil dude who lives alone in a one-bedroom. I wake up at 8 p.m. and do sit-ups and then just start practicing at the gun range. It's going to go dark. It'll be like
he'll be me.
At least he'll be doing some sit-ups. I guess that's what it takes. Send an email to his wife. Klavan.
The answer to your question is no. I think a civil war is coming in the Republican Party. I think that the Trump people, look, when Romney lost, they said to us, well, you didn't show up. And I was thinking, hey, it's not my job to show up. It's your job to convince me to show up. That's what a candidate does.
Right.
It's not, I don't owe you my vote. So the people who, this is a difficult choice, both bad candidates. The people who, as a matter of conscience, don't feel that they can vote for Trump, may cost him the election. And for Trump, who has never taken responsibility for anything, who's never taken the blame for anything, he is going to maintain, and he's right about himself, he is a movement. He is going to maintain that it was rigged, it was stolen, the weak republic. He's doing it now. He's attacking, he's spending his precious moments attacking Paul Ryan in this campaign. He's going to continue to do that after he loses. And I think that's going to tear the Republican Party apart. Okay, I do not see how there's a future for the Republicans.
Two questions to both of you, since they're both writers. They speak in paragraphs. Let me ask you this. If Trump loses, what's the statistical reality? So Trump loses or Trump wins? Klavan, if Trump loses, is it the never Trump people? Is it the other Republicans to blame? Or is it Trump and his supporters? Keep it short, and then I'll toss to Gavin.
Who's to blame? Trump is to blame.
Okay.
He's a terrible candidate.
Gavin, who's to blame if Trump loses in a big loss?
Women. The same people who got Barack Obama elected. Women thinking that they understand the political process and playing man, basically.
Okay.
Does this give me an excuse to beat my wife? That's all I want to know. I just want to make sure.
Gives you an excuse to grab her by the... Okay, so let's think about that. Which I don't even know how you do it, but apparently it's got to be on page 40.
It's got to be.
Page 47 of the Sexual Assault Role-Playing Handbook.
There's a book for dummies out there somewhere. I haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
It's not sexual assault if they hurl it at you. Then you're just catching it.
Well, I don't even know how that physically happens, but you hang out in some weird places. I guess it's the exercise he gets in absence of sit-ups. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this. Okay. America, Gavin. So here was kind of the fear.
Call me America Gavin.
America Gavin. It's his pornography game.
I'm sick of that nickname.
Italian Stallion was taken. So... Is America now, if Trump loses, for example, the big concern from people who are critics said, well, not only could Trump lose, but it'll hurt the down-ballot candidates. Republicans were going to keep control of the House, Senate. Now it looks like they might not. Looks like they might lose a lot of seats. If Trump loses, if he wins, America's better off. I think we'll all agree. If Trump loses and takes the Republican Party with him, do you think America's better off or worse off?
Well, it's clearly worse off, and I think that the Supreme Court is the most dangerous part of that. I think without Scalia, he was our stopgap. We've lost that. We're going to lose the First Amendment. We're going to lose the Second Amendment. We're going to have, abortion is, she was talking about 32 weeks the other day to legalize abortion. I don't know if she's ever Google imaged it, but they're looking pretty viable at 32 weeks.
Looks like her before makeup.
I'm petrified of a Hillary Supreme Court. I really am. And I still have this fantasy of a Superman, Batman, Trump Cruz team where he's handling the nerdy stuff, Cruz, and Trump's handling the showboating.
Okay. I I think, and I really respect that about Gavin, because a lot of people say, just burn the whole GOP to the ground. And Gavin, when we've been on, he's talked about it. Like, no, there's some real victories from Republicans. They're not all bad. I agree with you. I think if that...
I love everyone who wants smaller government. I like the alt-right. I like the neocons. I like the paleocons. I like Shapiro. I love them all. Dana Lash, everything. Even Glenn Beck.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to alt-right, because Andrew has opinions on that. So, Klavan, is America better off or worse off in a post-Trump candidacy?
Oh, he has put the Congress at risk, and that's a real danger. Any other candidate, I think we could have held the House and the Senate. I thought it was a no-brainer. The problem now is that people who vote for Trump may well vote against the Republican because Trump has attacked them, and people who would have voted for the Republican may not because they're not voting for Trump. So it's a double dip of bad news. And man, oh man, a Hillary empowered by a Democrat Congress is not pleasant to think about.
That is not pleasant to think about. It's like the first 2 years of Obama, but with hot flashes.
I have a question.
What?
I have a question.
Okay.
So Trump wins, and he is the terrible side of Trump, the bad Trump that we know he potentially could be. What happens to the movement at that point? Gavin.
I guess... So that was what Derbyshire talked about. He could break our hearts. And if he does, we'll backlash. I mean, this isn't a cult. I don't worship someone who says that it's going to be doomsday April 14th and then believe his stupid excuse on April 15th when the world didn't explode. So we will come at him guns a-blazing if he backstabs us. I mean, I'm here to fight for individual liberty and freedom. What?
So that's a level of specificity from an entertainer that I didn't expect. He had the dates. tells me what he was doing with these Mayan predictions.
Well, that's why I left that cult, and that's why I'm here today to tell you about it. He was wrong.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It's like Nick Gillespie said after Obama won. He said, we care about issues here, and we'll still be tackling them issue per issue. He said we don't even care who's in the White House. And as far as this, this next month goes, I'm all about maintaining who is going to leave us alone the most. I mean, politics only comes down to people who want to be left alone and people who won't leave them the hell alone. I'm going with the candidate who wants to leave us the most the hell alone. If he starts meddling, well, then he's made a big mistake, because there's a new positive force here with young people, and they are done with this hippie crap.
I think you're right. Klavan, I want to switch it because I know your answer to that question. I think you answered it before. The alt-right. So Gavin talks about that. The alt-right really aren't conservative, though. They actually like bigger government in a lot of ways. Certainly economically, a lot of them have come in from the Bernie side, the populist side. Klavan, I know you can't stand the alt-right, and Gavin, you think some factions are okay. Klavan, what's your stance on that and why?
Well, one of the things about every leftist policy is it always makes problems worse. Everything that leftists do make problems worse, right? You start talking about the police in black neighborhoods. Suddenly, black neighborhoods are on fire. Murders are going up and all this. But worst of all is political correctness, because it actually does empower racists and rude people. It basically makes rudeness hip and racism cool. And I think that that's what Milo Yiannopoulos is running on. He's going, he's giving this thing. It's so cool that a gay guy is out there, talking about anti-Semitism, and it makes that stuff viable, because you're so tired of people being, of people telling you to shut up, that you feel like saying anything is worthwhile. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what kind of makes John Derbyshire fun. I reviewed one of his books, and he's an open racist. He said he was a racist. And I just thought, yeah, but it's funny because at least he says it. He says it out. It's the terrible thing about political correctness is that it empowers
he's also married to an Asian woman and has Asian kids. So he's not your typical Klansman galloping down the street.
Asians are exempt.
But the thing is, these alt-right guys are feeding on that. And just because you're being ironical about hating Jews doesn't mean you're not evil. Like evil trumps irony. The guy being evil ironically is still being evil. And these guys, the things they say, the things they have said to me, that they have said to Shapiro, are just they're disgusting. I don't care about the political corrections. It's disgusting to tell somebody when he has a child, like they did to Shapiro, oh, well, I hope he enjoys the gas chamber. That's disgusting stuff.
Well, they sent pictures of me in gas chambers, and then when they realized I wasn't Jewish, they just went the other way and were like, he hates Jews. And I was like, all right, so whatever it takes to try and make it sting.
Be aware of Rams Pauls talks about this, where he says, whenever I see 14 or 88 or swastikas, I am dubious, and I think of spies and liberals. I think of SPLC trying to justify their existence. I just ignore them. I think a lot of that is fake. But as far as
I think a lot of people court them, though, Gavin. I don't think you do, but I think a lot of people in positions of power court that a little bit, and it's built more of a monster because they're pretty disruptive online, and people are afraid of them. Is there some truth to what Klavan would say there? And I think I would agree.
Yeah, I'm just saying that those people are not real people, that half of them are fakes. But as far as the more palatable ones, like, say, Derb or Richard Spencer, I am happy to disagree with him all the time. He said to me once that the America he sees doesn't include non-whites, which I can't even do the numbers on that. I don't get the math of it. But at least what they're doing is that word racist, anti-Semitic, sexist, bigot, Islamophobe, those have been such a black cloud, such a sword of Damocles above our head for so many decades now, that they were the first to sort of go, yeah, maybe I am, so what? And then the liberals go, they don't have an argument after that.
Yeah.
And it's very freeing to be past that. I mean, the word racist has been used to describe so many things now. They've diluted its value down to nothing. Now, I still don't think you should be out there.
Well, I think everyone on this panel here has been called a racist. We have less than 1 minute left, so Klavan, do you want to respond? And I'll let you guys go.
No, it's the very thing I hate about the left and that I hate about political correctness is it gives racism some legitimacy, not any philosophical or truth legitimacy. It's just you'd rather hear somebody speak his mind than be shouted down in America. I would rather people speak their minds than be shouted down. And I think that is a criminal effect of political correctness. I blame the left for it entirely, that it has given these people who climb out from under rocks any kind of legitimacy.
Andrew Klavan, author of The Great Good Thing. Go download it, buy it, listen to it. Gavin McInnes from compoundmedia.com. We have to go. Let's do this again, except let's not do it again. I don't think we want to do this anytime. Let's just really...
For breaking news on Louder with Crowder, I'm Perry Matheson. We take you now live to a high-speed car chase between America's sweetheart, Kenneth Bone, who rose to notoriety after he asked a question at the presidential forum on Sunday. But before, we'd like to show you this excerpt from earlier today where our on-the-ground reporter spoke with Mr. Kenneth Bone's wife.
I just had no idea. He was the most quiet man. All he did was hang out in his dark room and play with his model trains.
Well, it's never the ones you expect. We take you now live to our helicopter camera with on-the-field reporter Jimmy. Jimmy, what are you seeing there?
Well, Perry, it is quite a sight here. As you can see, Kenneth Bone is taking the local police on a high-speed car chase, testing them to their limits with his Geo Metro. It is now confirmed that the chase has, in fact, made it up to 65 miles an hour.
That sounds horrific, Jimmy. Any updates for the listeners?
You'll never take me alive, cappers! I'll never cooperate with the fuzz!
Well, Perry, he seems to be entirely non-compliant, seems to be dead set on continuing this chase, and as you know, the Geo Metro got fantastic mileage, so this could go on for a while.
The horror is hard to comprehend.
Wait, it appears that Kenneth Bone, Mr. Kenneth, is pulling over the car. Maybe he is going to surrender.
No, Jimmy, get the camera down there! Get the camera down there!
You want it, cappers? Come and get it! You'll never get me in the back of your paddy wagon!
Oh my word, Perry, he appears to have, a Tommy gun. This has gotten very violent very quickly, and he does have hand grenades. He is lobbing them with unparalleled efficiency. I've never seen anything like it.
I bet you didn't know old Kenneth Bone was in Nam. I know how to use these things. I'm the leader of the new world, pigs.
Permission to open fire on America's sweetheart. Confirmed, permission granted.
Oh my God, Perry, this has turned into just a gory, brutal scene. There is blood and bits of red sweater everywhere. No one expected it to end like this. Not like this.
Oh, well, a sad end to the tale of a man who stole America's heart. With his mustache, red sweater, and possibly misleading soft demeanor. in retrospect. I'll keep you abreast as the story unfolds. For Louder with Crowder, I'm Perry Mulholland.
And I don't want nobody, and I don't want nobody. You got that right. And I don't want nobody. I lost. Want nobody, and I don't want nobody. Jam, never need. You got that right. Nope. And I don't want nobody. I lost. Arnold Schwarzenegger. But if that's. And I don't want nobody.
Glad to be back. Love that bump. Surprise guest Curt Schilling is going to be on after this segment. Gosh, I got to take off these glasses. I can't see in them. They're not the right prescription, Jared.
They're not.
You've got some nerve on you giving me not the right prescription.
They were $4 from CVS.
Hey, sincere message. Thanks so much to Andrew Klavan and Gavin for staying longer. We appreciate it. And a lot of people think, well, I really do love them both. I respect them both. And like I said, I'm a contrarian bastard, so I have to kind of push them. If nothing else, I don't think you'll be able to hear a balanced, nuanced conversation on Trump at many other places. So hopefully it's either challenged what you think or maybe reinforced what you believe. But hopefully it's been of some value. Let's go back to absolutely despising Hillary Clinton. The WikiLeaks situation, listen, by the time you hear this, there could be 50 more. We've covered them at louderwithcrowder.com. I recommend you go there as we cover the biggest ones of the day because I can't even get into them. The worst one to me was that they said they knew Hillary Clinton knowingly deleted some of these emails. That was from Podesta. I thought that was really bad, but nobody cares at this point. These people are all above the law. All of these crappy politicians. A couple of tweets people have been sending to me. One is, what do you think about this? And it was a story of Bill Clinton's sex slave coming forward from page 6. You people... so many people in this election are just morons that I can't... Like, here's the deal.
Are you mental?
Bill Clinton has committed sexual assault. We know that. He's a philanderer. We know that. He's covered it up. We know that. Instead, you decide to overreach and lose by creating a sex slave from an orgy island. And then Hillary Clinton has so much ammo she could use on Trump, but instead she overreaches and they fabricate this BS New York Times story. It is just unbelievable to me how stupid people are in this election. One thing I think you can say, this has brought the worst out of America. Mm-hmm. The left is calling the right pedophiles, even though they defended them yesterday at salon.com. Now they're saying, well, Trump is a pedophile because he said he would date a 10-year-old girl. I don't think Donald Trump's a pedophile at all. I think Donald Trump is a guy who's a little bit of a BSer and goes too far. I think it was hey, listen, you got a great-looking daughter. Well, thank you. No, I mean, she's really beautiful. You're going to have a beautiful girl. Well, thank you. I'd date her in 10 years. Okay, Trump, that's too much. I think that's probably what happened. And then you have the right, was it Lou Dobbs? Doxed the woman who came out in New York Times today, put out her phone number and address, said that it was an accident, removed it, but the damage was done. Thousands of people had posted it. That's not right either. That's a scummy thing to do. And so it really has brought out the worst in the United States of America. Something else that I want to talk about. I see these tweets coming up. The electorate will change with Hillary Clinton. If she wins, you think Latinos, conservatives can ever win again? Ha, 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 ha. Again, this is what every single talking head does. Going up to an election, they say it's over, Eeyore, we'll never win, the country's done. Well, guess what? That's exactly what all of these top 5 conservative radio hosts said, and they made more money than ever, and they continued to give you new ways you could fight the 2 weeks after election. We're telling you right now, we're not saying the country's over, and we're not saying afterwards that it's easy. We do the opposite of what they do. I'm so tired of this crap. But let me tell you this. That's not true. It's not true. The country is not over regardless of who wins, win, lose, or draw. Let me tell you why. People say, Supreme Court voting base. Okay, illegals tend to vote Democrat. Yeah, but let's assume that there's some kind of order granted for amnesty for every single illegal citizen right away, and it's honored, and and nobody else enforces it. There's no push. Sorry, nobody else enforces any kind of deportation. There's no pushback. Let's assume worst case scenario. If colleges are the Democrat creating factories, right? Gender studies, humanity, sociology 101. You know what is the little Republican, the little conservative creating factories? Jobs. An economy out there, careers, skills. Here's the thing. Look at the Clintons. Look at their laws on abortion. Look at their laws on right to work. Look at their assault weapons ban. If people want to talk about guns, it was about as bad as it got ever with the Clintons. And then it all changed back under Bush. People say, the Supreme Court. Well, yeah, the Supreme Court ruled, if you look at the Heller case, that people have the right to bear arms. And now they want to reverse it with Hillary Clinton. And guess what? That can be reversed. But here's something else. You want to change the demographics? Let's look beyond just race. Let's look beyond just gender. If a Republican comes in, or if there's a Republican House or Senate, which is now up in the air, you have to acknowledge that, and that's a big part of Trump. Win or lose, he's a polarizing figure. We may give Hillary Clinton, because we ran Trump, there's a possibility that because we didn't run someone else. By the way, in the leaked emails, they were terrified of Rubio. They said Rubio's a guaranteed win. He's the new Obama. They wanted to run against Trump. They were actively pushing Trump. These are the WikiLeaks, so you won't hear it because of the clickbait sites, but that's the reality. But the possibility is if Trump loses, because of the magnitude, we could be giving Hillary a Supreme Court, House, Senate. But if we could change that back, House, Senate, at least, let's talk about the economy. You want to know how you generate an entirely new generation of young conservatives? Get them working. Right? Get them in, create incentives to bring jobs here to the United States, encourage kids to get out there and learn skills and trades, reduce government waste, remove entitlement programs, go out there and create a booming economy, reducing unemployment, bringing jobs back. And once people have money, what do they tend to do? They tend to want to keep it. They vote lower taxes. What else do they do? The more money they get, the more they have families. They grow up. They become conservatives. You can have to think that there will be an entirely irreversible tectonic shift in the geographical, political landscape of the United States because of Hillary Clinton is not accurate, and it absolves you of what you need to do, regardless of the polls right now. Go out and vote. Go out and canvass. Go out and knock on doors. Go out and make phone calls for the candidate you support. Whether that's Trump or Gary Johnson. I know we have a lot of Gary Johnson people out there. I think he's silly, but I can respect your principles for doing that. And then afterward, don't say, well, it's all Latinos now, so it's over. It's not. It's not. The greatest Republican creating factory there will be to change the vote is to get people employed, to get them in the workforce. It can be shifted. It's done. It's happened in my lifetime, both in the United States and Canada. I'm amazed, though, at the hypocrisy. How quick is the Joy Behar clip?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. Joy Behar said this.
Why she didn't have, that's why when he brought up these allegations, I wonder if she missed the opportunity to address it in a way that the public would understand, that that's just not how you behave.
The big issue? I would like to apologize to those tramps that have slept with my husbands. Maybe she could have said that.
All of a sudden, everyone who creates a BS story for the New York Times or Globe and Mail or any tabloid is to be believed, but people who came forward with hard evidence against Bill Clinton, they're tramps. Let's silence them.
Never wonder. P-O-G.
This is Clever Comebacks with Bill Clinton.
And so it's because of that unequivocally, with confidence, I can say that
you and your wife killed people who knew about your scandals?
No, that's not what I was going to say.
Specifically the rape scandals?
Nah, that's not accurate.
You are garbage. You are just a garbage person.
I'd argue that.
You can argue all you want, but you are a piece of human shit. You're just really a piece of shit.
Well, I disagree.
This has been Clever Comebacks with Bill Clinton.
You don't need some kind of cataclysmic disaster to be prepared. It pays to have peace of mind. Could be a natural disaster, some kind of a riot, anything that could interfere with what you'd need in your day-to-day for maybe a week or so. That happened with me in Montreal in the ice storm. So right now we have a promotional offer where if you call 888-457-3453 or go to preparewithcr.com, where you can get a 30-day emergency food supply kit for $99 shipped free. Comes in this box, self-contained, $99, shipped free, 140 servings. Set it somewhere and consider insurance. That's at 888-457-3453 or preparewithcr.com because You don't know what's coming around the corner. Take not gay Jared here. He doesn't know when his next meal's coming around, if at all.
What?
Nothing. Preparewithcr.com. Glad to be back. We have our guest.
We do.
Surprise guest. He's all over the news right now, trending on the Twitter. Friend of the show. Hey, Curt. I don't know the best. What's the best plug for you? It's hard to pronounce your Twitter handle.
Garrick38 is the Twitter, and like Lou Gehrig, Garrick38 at Garrick38.
Okay, got
and then my Saturday show is on CurtSchillingShow.com.
CurtSchillingshow.com. Okay, I know you've heard this ad nauseum, but for those who haven't heard this, I want to set it up and play the clip. I think this is the definition of a non-controversy. Donald Trump made a comment that sounded maybe a little creepy. I'll give them that. He said he would date a 10-year-old girl. The media's jumped on it. Regardless of your opinion, Curt was on a program to talk about it, and I think he was trying to communicate. I don't understand where the loss in communication occurred. Something that I think we'd all agree with. Jared, let's roll the clip.
Well, I mean, I think it says
more about you. So you tell me you see a 10-year-old girl and think, okay, yeah, I'm gonna date her.
I have a daughter. My daughter has friends. I've seen my daughter's friends. I'm a man. Wow, she's a beautiful young lady. I don't immediately jump to molesting her, but that's where the left has gotten.
Do you need to follow that up?
So I don't know why that's controversial at all.
No, it's because first of all,
hold on, Curt. First of all, are you a child molester? I don't want to get hung out to dry here. Say for me, no.
No. But isn't it terrifying that you have to caveat things now?
I know.
I've never molested a child, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn. I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand how we got. Well, I guess I do. I understand how we've got here. I certainly do that.
Well, you know why I was looking, because someone from Vox misquoted you saying something like, I want to date 10-year-old girls. And it was a quote. And I was like, well, in what context did Curt say that? And you didn't say that. What you were saying is, for people who should watch the full clip, we'll run it at the site, is plenty of people say, hey, that's a beautiful young girl. She'll be a heartbreaker someday. Oh, that's it. Every dad has said that.
And here's the thing. I'm going to bet you and I are in the same boat. I've never gone past wow, she's going to be a beautiful young lady. I'm going to nail that when I'm 20. That's not how men think.
No, it's not.
Listen, and he said, and he, here's the thing. We went from, the liberals took this from, hey, I'm going to date her when she's 20, to meaning I'm going to molest and assault her.
Right. Yeah, and I think it was poor wording for sure. I don't think yours was in the way Trump's was. And I think it's a valid argument for someone to be like, you know what? He says some crazy stuff. That could be a liability. But for people to take that and say, Curt Schilling wants to molest kids, that's what we were talking about. And I see this on both the right and the left. I think we can admit right now, it is the clickbait culture where they know it's not true and they run it anyway.
Right. Well, it's not that they know it's not true. It's the level of offense that they get to, that actually it's hilarious. Listen, again, I'm trending on Twitter because I said, I've looked at my daughter's girlfriends and said, you know what, she's an attractive girl. She's going to be an attractive. I mean, I have my youngest son. I don't want him to hear this because his head will blow up.
Right.
He's an incredibly good-looking young man. He's 14 years old. You know how many women, adult women, I've said, oh my God, he's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I didn't immediately go to, oh my God, she wants to bang him.
This is not going to help your case. My mom did it with our friends who were black, and because my mom's French Canadian and didn't see a whole lot of them, she said, "Oh, he's so good looking. He's going to grow up. He's going to be like Denzel. Watch the women around him." And because it's the only good-looking black guy she knows.
Well, I would argue she's a rapist.
She's a racist child molester.
But I mean, that's where we're at, and it's funny because people are tweeting, "Oh, your political career is over." Like, what? On what planet is someone going to be able? I'm not going to stand up on stage when Elizabeth Warren brings that soundbite out and go, "Yeah, that was me. I'm really sorry." I'm going to say, "You dumbass! You can't figure it out."
Yeah. Well, Mediaite is really stupid. One time they took like a clear Photoshop. I think it was like Steven Crowder hates, like, I hate black people and everyone who's not white. And they ran. I'm like, that's clearly a Photoshop. And it's, you know what's funny though with that? There's such non-issues that they don't even bother you. You know what I mean?
Listen, I don't care. Here's the thing I would tell people. All of you people that are tagging me on Twitter because you want me to hear, I don't give a shit what you think. I don't care. You're not somebody's vote I'm trying to win. You don't like me to begin with. I don't care. If you're going to infer the things you're inferring, then you're an idiot. It says far more about them than it does me.
Yeah.
If they can make the jump from, oh my God, he said he wants to molest her. I mean, what the hell is wrong with people? But that's the country. And here's the biggest problem for me. I was really pissed off last week when the Trump stuff came out, for a lot of different reasons. But I was really pissed at him. And then somebody talked some sense into me as I did my show that morning about, listen, he didn't say it last night. Now, that doesn't, again, we have to caveat this every time. He didn't say it last night. That doesn't make it okay. It's like every time someone says, you know, on TV, well, he's gay, but that doesn't make him a bad person. There's nothing wrong with that. Like,
yeah. Except in not gay Jared's case. You had a question, Jared. Hold on, Jared. You was going to say.
No, I had no question.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, never mind.
No,
I thought you had a question. You just wanted to speak because you like to hear yourself talk.
It's true. It's true. I was going to say people made the same assumption about me as a child, saying I was going to be a beautiful man.
Well, that was just poor betting odds.
And they were wrong.
Yeah.
Sure,
So
right.
sometimes these people are wrong. These perverts are wrong.
But here's the thing. The thing that pisses me off, like I said, Steve, is last week I was mad about Trump and all this stuff, and then I realized the entire media, and obviously Fox is in on the deal as well, has made it to the point where we don't get to spend any time talking about the issues.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, my issue, we were talking about this earlier. My thing is, I think it comes down to the issues. However, I'm not going to give the caveat where I somehow now think adultery is okay. I hated it when Clinton did it, and I'm not a fan of Trump doing it. But I would rather have an adulterer who wants me to pay lower taxes at that point, if that makes sense.
Well, let's be very clear about something, all right? Today she asked me on TV, you know, how do you feel about this guy saying this, this guy saying that? And at the end of the conversation, I said, listen, I would much rather have someone who's talked like an idiot than one who's acted like an idiot. He's talked about a lot of dumb stuff. He's said things that are absolutely embarrassing, and there's nobody on the planet that condones any of them. But she's done the stuff that we talk about. She's made herself into a candidate, even though as vile and disgusting of a human being as she is, she's literally leading for our presidency. That to me says that we're in a very, very deep, dark, mysterious place.
I think this election, I think, has brought out the worst from both the left and the right. They're calling you pedophiles, and then the right, you know, you saw with Lou Dobbs, we were just talking about doxing, accidentally or not, this woman who came forward for the New York Times, whether her alleging it is BS or not. Let me give my opinion on that because people are asking. I think her story is BS. I do think Trump has probably crossed some lines with women, not based on that story, but based on other stories. I think the New York Times story is BS. But I still don't think someone should post your phone number or address. And that damage has been done. And so for people to call you a pedophile, then the doxing, it makes me genuinely disgusted with the state of the election all around. And if that makes me anti-Trump and anti-Hillary, I guess so be it. But I just can't lie about that.
No, and here's the thing. If you're a conservative, if you're a rational thinking American, you're pissed off about everything that's happening because you understand the media has hijacked all of this.
Yeah,
and you know, we're partially to blame.
Exactly,
we're partially to blame. Number one, and number two, who on this planet? I'll give you an example: Ted Cruz not endorsing, or Paul Ryan backing away. That doesn't mean anything to me. I've never voted for anybody in my life because another political operative likes them
or celebrity.
Yeah.
And so we are really dealing with, and when liberals say it, it's a catchphrase. When conservatives say it, we're racist. We're dealing with low information voters. That is the only possible way that Hillary Clinton can get a vote.
Yeah.
You have to not know that she's lived her life scamming people. She's stealing from survivors in a third world of an earthquake. She's helped bury the women who her husband raped and assaulted. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And the fact of the matter is that woman is getting our votes.
She's getting, well, you're not getting our votes. Hold on, Mr. Child Molester. Okay, I'll allow the objectification of 10-year-old girls, but I will not be accused of being a Hillary voter. It is one of those situations, though, really, when I read this, I thought there was going to be more to it. And I think Donald Trump should have worded it much more carefully. In your case, I was like, I don't even think this is an issue.
Though, Stephen. I mean, listen.
No, I was saying earlier, I think this is what happened with Trump. And you tell me, I think we all know, like, we've all met people who are a little bit of BSers, like, who want to make you feel good. And I think it's, hey, it's a great-looking girl. Well, thanks. I mean, she's really a knockout. Well, thank you. I'd date her in 10 years. Too far, Trump. You didn't need to say that. That's probably what happened.
Here's the problem. I grew up in quote-unquote the locker room. The things he said on the bus and the things in this video, they're spoken like a guy who doesn't speak like this. Like, he was being so awkward on the bus.
You think he was trying to fluff his resume a bit?
Well, he's trying to be funny.
Okay.
On the bus, he was clearly trying to be funny, and none of the stuff I've never heard people talk the way he says the things he said. Like, people that talk trash, they don't talk like that. They talk a lot worse than that. And having been around the locker room.
I don't know if I'll go with you on that, but I'm entertaining it.
The locker room in sports is the most sexist, racist, like, foul place in the world, because there's no what you see here and what you hear here, let it stay here when you leave here. That was always the motto in the locker room. And so guys say and you're not okay. You're not condoning them. It's just what they do. You ever been in a conversation with someone who he is the only person in the conversation, or she that doesn't realize that they're being an idiot, and you're looking around the room going, "Is this person for real?"
I think I know that person quite well.
But everybody else is looking at each other, or they're laughing very uncomfortably,
right?
Because they don't know what else to do. That was the bust for me. Those guys were laughing at him because it wasn't funny, but they were uncomfortable.
Right. All right. Well, Curt, best place to find you. We have to let you go. It was a short thank you for surprising us, gracing us. What's your Twitter handle?
Gehrig38, at Gehrig38, Gehrig, and then my show Saturday mornings on CurtSchillingShow.com.
CurtSchilling.com. You be the judge. I'm just looking out for the folks. Active serial pedophile? Not? Who knows? You decide. I can't believe we are here. Oh, Nick DiPaolo up next. And then we'll play Hipster Hobo with you on Twitter. Stay tuned.
When it's time to get away, there's a place over the Great Lakes horizon with water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. A place where the imminent danger of its soaring murder rate is second only to that of its tap water. A place where tremors resulting from mass arson fires remind you of when your hometown hero, Michael Moore, used to walk these streets before he abandoned you years ago. Where an economy once propelled by the heart of the American automotive industry is now driven entirely by heroin and crack cocaine. And while the rest of the world tries to import the beautiful fresh waters from the Great Lakes in their backyard, the people of Flint prefer to hearken back to a simpler time, where they ladle their water, unfiltered, unchlorinated, from their very own river. A place where residents appreciate a frozen moment in time so they can sit back, enjoy a cold sip, reflect with loved ones, and feel the slow onset of arsenic poisoning coursing through their veins. And as the light begins to fade and their life flashes before their eyes, they take the scenic route, examining the poor life choices that brought them to the living hell that is Flint. As that last refreshing sip they'll ever get to savor hits their palate for a taste that's pure Flint.
If you feel like giving up, baby, well, don't turn around.
I figure it was perfectly fitting for our next guest also, with everything going on this evening. You can follow his podcast on iTunes for free once a week, or I highly recommend it. It's worth paying for. It's like a couple of bucks. It's nothing. It's the price of a cup of coffee or keeping a kid alive in Africa. Or subscribe to the podcast, connectpal.com/Nick. For my money, I would say one of the funniest people alive. I've talked about Norm Macdonald and Nick DiPaolo. Thank you for being here, sir.
Norm is my favorite, by the way. You have exquisite taste.
Thank you very much. He's a litmus test for me. If I throw out his name and someone says, I don't find him, done. We're not friends.
Yes. Yes. Colin Quinn, too, is a litmus test for me.
Colin Quinn, the problem with him is I think he wasn't great on SNL, and so a lot of people have only seen that. If they don't know his stand-up, it can skew the demos a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's their problem. They have to do their research if they're going to be comedy fans and not be lazy about it. Now, you look like a transgender guy who's 8 months pregnant.
Well, that's what we were going for.
If you give me the profile shot, that's what...
I don't think you're supposed... Well, men can get pregnant, too. I don't know if you've been reading the news lately.
Yeah, that's what you look like.
Yeah. Well, listen, we aim to please, and we put a lot of effort into it. This took a while to get this get-up going.
You look like my Italian grandmother in a sweater.
Well, I think if anything, we've learned that Nick has poor genetics. Yes. So that would explain the hernias. Nick, by the way, for those of you who are like, well, why is he not laughing? A, the show's not that funny. B, he had hernia surgery, so you've got to be careful, right?
I do. I get 3 pieces of tape. I do. And there's blood coming through the tape. I had 2 hernias. The guy did it the laparoscopic, so he had to make a 3rd hole to put the camera in. And luckily, he was in it long enough where I can get my SAG card.
For those of you learning, you're like, what's SAG? Union card, people.
Yeah, yes. So I'm bleeding through. I'm being held together by tape here.
Gosh, how do you get to 2 hernias, though? I mean, hernia is not something you miss easily. It's not like a prostate exam.
I was a power lifter in Russia for 12 years. No, I don't know. You put on too much. No, it's just it's athletics. You hear of sports hernias?
No.
You never heard of a sports hernia?
No, actually, my dad had one. My dad had one, and he was a little concerned about it. And then it went away. I guess they can go away.
Yeah, this one, I was diagnosed 17 years ago by an Indian guy in Queens, New York.
No, this is when you were playing baseball?
No. Ow. And I said, I went and got a second opinion. The guy goes, well, this one doesn't have to be done yet, but you might want to get that. And I just kept ignoring it. And then you exercise, you do P90X, and you jump around, and you age 20 years, you put on a few pounds. And the pain was getting excruciating, just sitting at the desk doing a podcast. So I said, I got to get this fixed.
Yeah, if you can't podcast, next step is disability.
Well, that's exactly right. When podcasting becomes too much. So, and I did P90X for, you're supposed to do that for 3 months. I did it for about 14 months and turned my hips and knees into a fine powder. I can't keep up now. I used to make fun of people who worked out in their living rooms. Now I can't even keep up with the... I have to do the modified version of the exercise. They always have a fat girl in the front doing the modified.
If you can't do this, just get yourself some rubber bands and lower yourself onto the bench.
Exactly. Everybody else behind us is doing one-arm push-ups, and me and Catherine are going like this.
Well, yeah, P90X is not meant to do long-term, so...
Yeah, nobody told me that. I got addicted with it because it really got me in good shape, but... Now when I come down the stairs in the morning, it sounds like I'm walking on bubble wrap.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Usually people go in for that and get some glucosamine, and they sell DiPaolo's joints as glucosamine. This is the powder you're looking for. Well, you know what? Yeah, it's not made to do long term. I will let you know. Hopefully just going forward. You need to find some balance, Nick. That way you can do a little bit of both.
The real question is, are you enjoying that 3rd hole? That's the one burning in our minds right now.
Well, there's 4 now, Jerry.
There's 4. But you said 3rd.
Well, actually, it is... Oh,
you counted 3.
Like 5.
I picture when you drink, he's like in Gremlins 2, awful movie where the gremlin drinks and just the cocktail comes out of him.
We got thousands of people listening right now trying to count those holes and figure them out.
Yeah, let's not continue with that. So I want to say that I was surprised. You were on the show and you talked about Trump making fun of the guy. I don't remember, and how funny you thought it was.
Yeah, that's when I decided to vote.
Yes, and actually that's one of those things. For all the criticisms we have of Trump, I like that he speaks his mind. I was shocked when we were talking off air and you said initially, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, so you can correct me, you were a Ted Cruz fan. Clarify.
Well, it was, because he seemed to be the most... And again, I'm not as conservative as Ted Cruz.
Right.
I just think that the country moved so far left, we needed somebody that conservative to sort of swing the pendulum back.
Yeah.
And he had been giving Obama, been fighting Obama tooth and nail on a lot of stuff from day one. and he was doing it inside of Washington.
Yeah.
And now all the same people that hate him hate Trump. So, so yeah, I went with Cruz because I know, he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Even the libs said this, he's a bright guy. So
yeah.
I thought, but now that I've seen Trump and the way he's bare knuckle brawling, I like it.
Yeah.
I like the new alt-right.
Oh God, we just had a conversation about this. Is
that a bad thing?
No, we just had a whole talk about it, and people have differing opinions. I think there depends on how you get into it. I think there's a lot of good, and then we had Klavan on, who's not a fan. Do you think, gun to your head, you have to bet your life, your family's life, who wins? Not who do you want to win, Trump or Hillary? Who do you think wins?
Well, what kind of gun is it? Is it still legal?
Well, it could go either way, regardless of who's president. The no-fly, no-buy. It's like, just give me one president who understands the Second Amendment when we don't have an option there. But who do you think, your head, not your heart, who do you think wins?
In my head? This is really tough for me.
Yeah.
Because I think it's rigged, just based on all the WikiLeaks, and it's obviously rigged for this thick-ankled dog face, and with the lower half of Earl Campbell.
Nick DiPaolo 2020, people. No leaked tapes necessary.
But on the other hand, I think there's a groundswell that the polls are not indicating for Trump. I think so many people are afraid to admit they're going to vote for him. I don't know why. That there could be a sort of a Brexit, when they were shocked.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. It could be if you look at the demos. I don't think so. And it's, it wouldn't explain how the polls have been so consistent where Trump fumbles and the polls go down, or post-convention. It still followed that. So if they were rigged or people were ashamed, that wouldn't change. But you could be right. We have to go. We'll be back. Nick DiPaolo, we're going to play Hipster or Hobo. We'll try and keep it less funny because we want to be nice to our guests.
No.
And he needs another Percocet.
I want to believe.
Oh, well, that'll happen. Let's do it.
Do you have a fire alarm in your house? Locks on your door? Maybe a firearm or guard dog? We prepare ourselves for a lot of things, but a lot of us are exposed if there are natural disasters, riots, civil unrest, and I'm not talking about some kind of cataclysmic doomsday event. Just something that could put you out of commission for a while. I lived through the ice storm in Montreal where we didn't have power for over 7 days, or food, or water. And that's why right now we have a promotional offer with preparewithcr.com, or call 888-457-3453 to get a 30-day emergency food supply kit. You have food, you have mixes for drinks, dehydrated food. The mac and cheese is actually one of my favorites. For $99, the whole kit, 140 servings, shipped free. That's call 888-457-3453 or go to preparewithcr.com. While supplies last, put it somewhere in your house, basement, just know that you have it and forget about it. Sleep better.
Steven, this isn't very comfortable.
Stop speaking.
It's me, not Gay Jared, though.
Hey, what did I tell you? What did I tell you about that?
There's no Jared. I am only Reek now.
Exactly. Preparewithcr.com. I don't want to hear another sniffle, Reek.
I'm sorry.
Oh gosh! Every time Nick DiPaolo comes on, I have to. I need to get a wrist brace.
Yes.
Protect my knuckles from all of this.
Oh Lord.
What is this, Nick? What's the story behind this? This is my.
What's that?
Is that? Did your wife give you that?
Oh no, the doctor gave it to me. It's the guy who operates.
You must have the best doctor going.
He said he didn't want to get blood on his white coat. This is how he operated on him.
Well, that's a perfect doctor for a comedian. For those listening terrestrially, it's a very gay picture, borderline pornographic.
Yeah, I know it is. My wife wrote something dirty on it, but and then I started reading this in the hospital. I was asked to leave my adult coloring therapeutic group.
Well, there you go. You're a borderline brony. ConnectPal.com/Nick. By the way, you didn't even let us get your plug.
this broad gets herself in a lot of jams. You ought to pick up this book. Okay. I can be a dance star, and I say, well, what's keeping you from becoming a dance star, bitch? Anyways, another professional victim. Another glass ceiling in the dance world.
Yeah, for Barbie. By the way, have you seen they want to have normal figured Barbie? Have you seen that now?
What would be normal figured? Like
fatter.
Like the girl that Trump was giving a hard time, the Miss Beauty Queen from Colombia or wherever?
Yep, the one who gained all the weight and almost looked like Hillary Clinton light, that one. Yep. They're trying to have normal Barbie now, which is horrible because they try and tell you what normal is, and it's just what guys don't really like. You know, it's like, the normal Barbie is less bosomy, but fatter, and there's nothing wrong. Guys like all different kinds of body types, but some women actually look like that. No, it's true. No, but it's wider than women think, right? Like, let's say you're 5'5", there's about 100-pound variance where guys will find you attractive. Like, there's a type for every guy, but they think that all guys want what the gay men have created on the cover of women's magazines. Or if you look at men's magazines, it's a little bit wider of a spectrum.
Yeah, I agree with that. Biggest girl I ever dated was she was like the captain of basketball team at the University of Maine. She was a couple years, a year younger than me, but she was probably about 5'11", I'd say about 150.
Oh.
But, just athletic.
Yeah.
Long, muscular legs. And
yeah.
She threw me around the dorm like a little girl. I loved it.
Yeah, there you go. He had a half door swing there, and Nick just went along for the ride. Okay, the rules for this game, we were waiting to play this with you. Hipster Hobo, the rules are this. Not Gay Jared is going to show you and I a picture. Okay, the audience can tweet us, tweet along with us. I'm at S. Crowder. Are you just at Nick DiPaolo?
At Nick DiPaolo, correct, sir.
At Nick DiPaolo, and we're going to have to guess if it's a hipster or hobo, and then we'll tally up the score at the end of it. Do you have any questions, Mr. Percocet?
Well, just remind people that I think I was like 5 for 5 with the transgender thing we did last time.
Did he win?
I think I can't remember. I think he did, maybe.
No one wins it. No one wins at that game. Just like this game, let's roll the intro.
Hipster or hobo.
Let's go.
Hipster or hobo, I wish I knew. Hipster or hobo, both look like crackheads, both are obnoxious assholes, both will destroy the value of your property.
High production value here, Nick.
That's how we do it.
We get the rights to all of these songs. All right.
Was that Paul Simon? Boy, he's hit a new low, huh?
Yeah, I know. A little pitchy, if I'm going to be honest. Okay, Not Gay Jared, let's hit us with the first picture.
Number 1.
Okay, number 1. Is this a hipster or hobo? You can tweet us along. Nick, do you think that's a hipster or hobo?
There's no white hobos, at least not in New York. That's a hipster.
You're going to say hipster? People will probably, Twitter, everyone thinks that's a hipster. I'm going to go hipster.
That one is a hipster, you see. He won't go to school unless it's free. Bernie.
Well, there we go. Hipster. Okay,
Hipster.
We're both 1 and 1.
Yep.
So hopefully these get progressively harder.
They will.
And less FCC friendly. 1 and 1. Let's give him another one, Not Gay Jared.
There we go.
Ooh. I don't even know. That could be in Spot the Tranny as well. Nick, hipster or hobo on that one?
It's a hipster.
You're going to say hipster? I'm going to say hobo, and then I want to know if it's a man or a woman. Not
That one is a hobo, you see. He sells bottles, cans, and his dick cheese.
Well, that got dark quickly.
That got dark. Not a hand.
Yeah, there's no difference between a hipster and a hobo in Seattle.
It's true. Or Portland, or Austin.
White homeless in Seattle. I go, what's your excuse?
Yeah, I know. And we were talking about this. You feel empathetic for everybody, but you definitely have. You don't? Not at all?
No, I'm shooting a special at the end of the month.
Yeah.
A 1 hour stand-up special. You know what the name of it is? Compassion Fatigue.
Well, it is. You know the highest homeless people per capita. Do you know where it is in North America?
I would say per capita. I would say the most homeless people per capita in North America. That would have to be. Right now. Well,
it's close to. Montreal was up there at least for a long time, which surprises people.
I was going to say Toronto.
Toronto, really? Toronto's
no, Seattle.
Seattle. I'd say, Montreal, which is funny because of the socialism safety net. There's a lot. There's a lot when it's really, it's socialist, paying 52% income tax, and you picture that safety net. I don't know if it's the top anymore, but there were a couple years where it was shockingly high, like way higher than Boston or Seattle.
Yeah, I remember being up at the festival and stepping over a few people while I was eating a cheesesteak.
Yes, naturally. This is why people visit Montreal. All right, let's go to this next one. I think we're two and no. I'm two. He's one.
One. Here we go.
I'm better with the hobos than trannies. Go ahead. This one. Okay, Nick, guest's choice first. Is that a hipster or hobo?
Well, that's either. Well, how can you can have hipsters in the late 70s?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they troll grade schools with paneled vans.
That's it. Have you seen him lately, fellas?
He's in the back of my car.
That looks like a hipster who fell off a 12-story building. No, I'm gonna go. That's a hobo.
You know what? I'm gonna say it seems so obviously a hobo, like you said, that it's designed to trick us. I'm gonna say hipster.
That one is a corpse, you see. He had some dirt on Hillary.
That was a right there.
I don't know how we score that one.
I don't know.
It was
everyone loses.
It was a corpse, and he's going to be buried in the same plot as Vince Foster. So
I found this bike on K Street.
Yes, I think so. Okay, I don't know. So
let's call that a wash.
We'll call that a wash. I think everyone was fooled on that. Twitter seems a little.
That guy ought to try it. I can smell it from here.
Yes. Well, that's what happens. Bodies decompose. Nick, you should be showing.
Was that really a corpse?
Yes.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's why I can't run for president. We don't need any leaked tapes. They can just roll this on a loop.
Very relaxed. I think
well, it's tough. You never know. Not good, Jared. Let's give us another one here. Let's see. So we need. Oh wow, that's cheating because you have a MacBook. Well, see, this seems obvious. What Jared showed us a close-up of a Letterman's jacket and a MacBook.
I got a theory on that though. That's a hobo who stole stuff from a hipster.
That's a hobo who stole stuff from a hipster?
Yeah.
I think Nick is right. It's rarely the obvious answer, so I think Nick and I are both going to say hobo on that one.
Hobo?
Jared? Yeah.
Yes, that one's a hobo, you see. He lives in a box, he smells like pee.
Nick, he got one. He's doing
one. He's getting it.
There you go.
He's getting it.
Wait a minute, got one. I got a couple.
Yeah, you have two. Well, it's two.
2 out of 3.
Yeah, 2, 3. So I'm 3, you're 2. Look at him. He's already the Percocet. He already needs another one. He's scratching himself.
Kidding me?
Look at him. He's like, I gotta get another Vicodin.
No, this isn't the Percocet. This is the heroin.
Yeah. Well, that's how people.
It's heroin.
Funny enough, heroin, Percocet, very similar, but heroin's easier in the liver. That's how a lot of people get shifted over to it.
Is it the Percocet that gets you onto heroin?
Yeah. It's, they still give you heroin in certain European hospitals. It was designed as a synthetic, non-addictive alternative to morphine.
Right, and then bass player Rolling Stones got a hold of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think
a whole different thing.
I think it still happens in the UK or certain hospitals. I read they give you heroin to this day. It's an actual clinical painkiller. So, ask for the good stuff next time. 3 and 2.
3 and 2. There
3
we
and
go.
2. Hit us with another one. All right. Well, they're cheating with these when you're not giving us enough context. That's a
nice idea.
That's a tie-dye shirt with a jacket that looks kind of American Apparel. Nick, what do you think?
It's a hobo.
You say hobo. I'm going to say hipster. Let's divide this one.
A hobo or a homo?
Well, it could be both. I say hipster. Not gay, Jared.
That one is a hipster, you see. He's also gay. He has HIV.
That's not fair.
It's Kanye West. That's Kanye West.
I don't know that he has HIV either.
I don't know that that's
That could be
accurate.
slander.
That could be slanderous.
That's iffy territory.
That's Kanye West, and he was missing a leg in that picture.
Yeah, I know.
Probably left it in Kim's ass.
Well, I was going to say Kim got hungry, and Kanye was all she had around. She didn't have her emergency food supply kit. Preparewithcr.com, one of our sponsors. Jared, what was that? What was that, Jared? Was that a hipster or hobo? Why did we qualify it? Hobo?
That was hip. Well, I mean,
hobo.
I'm going to go with hipster. It's Kanye.
I think. Well, let's just give that one to Nick, so it's a tie.
Okay. Tie.
We're at 3-3.
3-3.
Yeah. So we need a game breaker. Do you listen to Kanye at all?
I wouldn't listen to Kanye if he's in my kitchen right now, unless he was making me a sandwich.
Well, he's probably pretty adept at that, considering he's married to a Kardashian.
He's a big girl, in my opinion.
I actually think he's a great MC, but he is functionally retarded.
A great MC, you say?
Yeah, he's fantastic. He really is good.
MC?
I know, not the MC term like comedian, master of ceremonies, MC Middler, but MC is the term they use for hip-hop artists. Look at him. He's so... Look, Nick...
It's not an abbreviation for something?
I don't know if it's MC or EMCEE with the hip-hop.
What's he, spin records? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's what they do. If you spin records and
They call that an MC?
Yeah, that's what they call him.
He's a jerk-off in either way. But
okay, all right. Let's tie break this. Hipster or hobo? This one. All right. Well, I think that one is pretty obvious, but I don't...
Well, if he's urinating, he's a hobo. If he's... Look like he's looking down and...
Yeah,
that's a hipster.
Nick says hipster. I'm going to steal Nick's insight. I think because I've been tricked before, if he is urinating, which is possible, I say hobo. So Nick says hipster, I say hobo. Let's figure this one out.
That one is a hipster, you see. He cut himself when they canceled Glee. How cruel.
This seems needlessly dark, not gay, Jared.
It is dark. It is dark.
Did you...
I got that right.
What was that?
I got that one right.
You did get... Oh, damn. Nick is ahead. Nick is...
That kid had some nice legs. They weren't as nice as this guy's legs.
Oh, no. Come on. That guy's not doing the P90X.
One last one. Here we go.
Okay, all right. One more, because I need to get my points back. Oh, okay. I'm going to say that's a hobo. But I'll let Nick go. What do you think?
I was looking at the breasts. I was going to hips it, but then I saw the 6 inches of toe jam under the nails. Did you see her hands? She had the hands of the skipper from Gilligan's Island.
Yes.
That's a hobo. That's a dirty woman. I can smell her. She's like a block of shot cheddar.
I think we both agree that's a hobo on that game.
Just her hands alone. Courtney Love.
That one is a trick joke, you see. He's neither of them, just a tranny. He, she.
Paul Simon really seems like he'll do anything for the money now.
He will.
It's like the Black Eyed Peas. They show up for bar mitzvahs.
Was that Larry Bird, that last one?
Yeah, could have been Larry Bird. You're a good sport. You're the champion, Nick. You have to defend your title. ConnectPal.com/Nick. Where else should people find you?
NickDip.com for all my tour dates. And, at Nick DiPaolo on Twitter. Instagram, I just started doing that. Another useless thing. And
he's got a bunch of pictures of him in yoga pants. We must go. Funniest man alive, Nick DiPaolo. Stay tuned, or you're anti-Italian, I think.
Probably.
I don't know.
I'm Dean Cain, vice presidential candidate on the Hopper-Cain ticket. And lately, we've been the subject of some very dishonest campaign attack ads. These ads are slanderous, baseless, and entirely expected from the big squirrel establishment. It doesn't take much to prove that these attack ads don't stand up to scrutiny. For example, here I was accused of assaulting a black man, but if you look closely, that is actually Denzel Washington from the film Out of Time. In this ad, I was accused of being a domestic abuser, but as you can see, this too was a scripted motion picture. Big Squirrel is scared, America. It is time to overthrow politics as usual. Join me this year and feel the Hopper. I'm Dean Cain, and I approve this message.
Glad to be back with you, Nick DiPaolo. Great show. A little dark.
This is a dark show.
Little dark show, but we appreciate you sticking along with it. The reason we had to go dark was because, I don't know why. Nick DiPaolo, Andrew Klavan, Gavin McInnes. Thank you so much, Curt Schilling, for stopping by on late notice. Next week, do we know who we have next week? Oh, Collion Noir.
Collion Noir
of NRA, and I think we have Ben Shapiro. Oh yeah, you know what? And we do have maybe a surprise guest. Of course, live stream is going to be available for election night in the next debate.
That's next Wednesday.
Yep. And of course, our wonderful sponsors at preparewithcr.com to get your $99 shipped-free emergency
really
food
good stuff.
kit.
Legitimately,
it actually is. My wife and I ate the oatmeal the other night because we didn't have food.
I can believe that.
And it's better than the Quaker Oats oatmeal, which if you think about, oatmeal lasts forever anyways. So you're just taking oatmeal and you're vacuum sealing it. And you're just keeping it there. It's just something you have in case of an emergency. My brother had the LA earthquakes. I remember one time, and he has a whole. He's friends with Judge Reinhold, one of all people.
Yeah.
My weenie whistle, and he coached my brother on what to have kind of in your kit.
Yeah.
You know, flashlight. I don't know, multi-tool, water, some dried food.
Everyone should have a good house kit, and everyone should have a good bug-out bag. In my opinion.
When the crap hits the fan, that's always what they say in the Preppers show.
Yep.
So, we had so much more we wanted to get to. The video of the people getting run over by the cars at the KKK Columbus Day protest.
You can still roll that. That's just hilarious.
We don't have time to roll it. Well, this show's already been dark enough. What's the takeaway? You know, I got someone saying, well, I think you're trying to say that Hillary's going to win, so it won't be that bad. No, that's actually not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to tell people out there, and I see, you know, the biggest concern from the Clintons right now is that there won't be a huge turnout, that people think it's going to be a landslide victory because of where the polls were. And so right now they're panicking a little bit, and they are going out, and they've actually doubled their efforts. They've increased their campaign spending. They're being very aggressive. And I've seen a lot of people on the right who are voting for Trump, who want to stop Hillary, as we need to, saying the polls are rigged, Trump's going to win in a landslide. And I don't think that really helps anybody. That's the point of this, to at least illuminate maybe some blind spots that you might have, to draw some attention to it. And something that I would like to see, this is just personal, the breed of conservative, libertarian, anti-authoritarian I would love to see are just people who are perseverance personified. I was inspired, actually, Michael Bisping, not even my favorite fighter. I actually would have liked to see Dan Henderson win. He barely retained his UFC title here this last weekend. I was reading an article, sorry for not having the source, I don't remember where. I want to say MMAfighting.com at Yahoo. The writer, please call me on it, and I'll give you a link once I remember who it was who wrote this. But Michael Bisping is a fighter who's not the most talented. He's not the biggest. He's not the strongest. He doesn't have a professional athletic record as a lot of other people did. But he's the longest running in the organization. I think he has more fights now than anyone, more overall victories than anyone. It was 10 years before he actually got his title shot. And he got it, and he shocked the world. And then he defended it. And he probably won't defend it for very long because he's a little bit older. He's got all kinds of scar tissue. He's got one eye that's googly. I repeat, googly now. And just looks a little weird, a little worse for the wear. But he finally got that title. And what did it come down to with a guy like that, with Michael Bisping? Whether you like him or not, and he's a personality. At a certain point, he looked around, and all the guys he fought, and all the guys who even beat him years ago, weren't there anymore. He was just still the guy there. And the people who might have jumped ahead of him for a title shot weren't there, because then they lost their next fight, or they had contract issues. And all of a sudden, a call came as a late replacement. They needed someone, and he was there. He was still there. And there is so much to be said for that in life. And what I don't want to see you do is be that person who gets all fired up and Trump's going to win in a landslide. And so you get complacent. And if he doesn't, or if maybe it's not Trump this time, maybe it's the next election. Maybe it's something else that's important to you. And you burn out and you say, well, and this isn't going to work. You go full Eeyore and you lose hope. I don't want to see that. If we create just with 10% of our audience, of the millions of people who read and listen and download overall, just 10% of you become those people who just stick in the fight, even if you're not the best, even if you have an IQ that is approximately room temperature, but you are in the pocket every day, you will find in your life, in nearly any endeavor, at a certain point in time, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 15 years, you'll look around and the people who are better than you, the people who were there aren't there anymore. And it's just you. And maybe a new crop of people, but they haven't been doing it as long as you. They don't have the experience you do. They don't have the know-how you do. There is so much to be said for simply staying there, continuing to do it. I've talked about consistency before. about getting up and proactively doing something every day. Right now, that's not even what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is just showing up, is just doing something, just staying there. Even if you're not great, even if you're not necessarily super inspired, even if you're not that talented, there is so much to be said for that. And what I don't want to see, and I see a lot of, is people getting, it's something that's unsustainable. Kind of like the person, you've seen this before, where they're very overweight, and they get in fantastic shape, but they're just militant about the diet, and then they're militant about going to the gym, and there's no balance to their life, and then all of a sudden it cascades. They miss a week, or something happens in the family, or they can't get, and then what do you know? You see them a year from then, and they're just not even close. And you go, what happened? And they just lost it. They just, this kind of happened, and it cascaded, and I gave up. And that's most people. That's that 80-20 rule. 80% of people at some point just say, nah, I can't do it anymore. Give you an example. Just so you know this in your life, you've experienced this, many of you have experienced this, and you don't even know it. Think of a day where you were just really tired, exhausted. Let's say 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock rolled around. Everyone has had this. Think of when it happened to you and you thought, all right, I can't do this. I'm just going to throw in the towel. I'm going to stop. And something happened. Maybe it was a phone call at work. Maybe something happened with your children. But the best thing happened at the end of the day because you stayed a little late, or because you made that drive, or because you made that phone call, even when you were exhausted. Take that little micro example, and apply it to life over the course of years. At some point, everyone faces that spot, and that's what's going to happen before or after this election, where people go, you know what, my heart's not anymore, I'm out. And at least 80% of the people who are out there right now are going to do that. I want to see you be a part of that 20%. When other people stop, I want you to look around and say, hey, I'm still here, and get to it, and keep doing it, because we'll be here. Win, lose, or draw. See you next week.